And we are at a very special place today with a very special man, the man of the hour, Mr. Kirk Gibson. You started this brand new facility, the Kirk Gibson Center, to help people with Parkinson's, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We've been working on it for some time, and today we're announcing it to the public here on Northwestern Highway and Middle Belt Road. It's a convenient location where we can grab the most amount of people within 30 minutes of this facility so they can utilize it regularly.
Well, we took a walk around earlier and we mentioned the pickleball courts that are going in. I saw yoga, I saw a music area, just tons of interactive things for people to do. And you got a very large facility here, so you're going to be able to help a lot of people.
Well, we're going to be here for 11 years, and in 11 years we hope to develop some therapies that are going to help people and motivate others to, handle their situation in a way maybe they don't understand they can if they choose to. I ask everybody that's listening, have you ever been depressed? Do you feel like doing anything when you're depressed?
No.
So if you got a place to come, whether you have other colleagues, other teammates, other activities, and you get up and you get moving, would you feel better, do you think?
Of course.
And that's what we're all about. It seems like there's a lot of negativity in our lives, maybe more so than it used to be. So let's counteract it, and this would be one of the facilities around in the area where you can do that.
Wake up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid high.
Fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener! Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
What up, though, people? Thank you guys for choosing to kick off today with the Wake Up Woodward show. It's the WUW Crew. Your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, the vet of the network. Hey, I love how the flannel right now is matching with the back wall.
Oh, yes. That was actually Chase's doing, so shout out to him. But not to get on my soapbox, but you know what really grinds my gears right now?
What up, though, brother?
The Cleveland Guardians are about to get swept by the Yankees. The Guardians have no chance whatsoever. And I believe that if the Tigers would have won that Game 4, that they would have given the Yankees a hell of a better fight than the Guardians are giving right now. And I get it. They didn't earn it. They didn't win. But it's just something where I'm looking at and being like, the Guardians don't even belong on the same field as the Yankees.
So, oh,
Yankees
man.
are going to sweep them.
Goodness gracious, it's supposed to be Scoob starting that game, one of the ALCS,
but you know what? They didn't earn it. It's just one of those things that make me go or things that make me depressed. Either one, but
probably both.
Yes.
But as always, chat family, you guys are the most important part of the WUW Crew family. Go ahead and smash that like button.
Smash that.
Shout out to that dude, Justin. Hey, shout out to our brother Matthew Broder. Intern Chase is in the building. What up, though, man?
Hey, what up, though? How's it going this morning, guys?
It's going good, man. Got a different energy this morning, man. I feel good. Shout out to KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick in the sound booth. What up, though, brother?
What up, though, man?
Hollywood.
Hey, we got some movement in the NFL, y'all. 2 wide receiver trades and extension. Ooh, I got some thoughts on that. Yeah, I got some thoughts on that, man.
Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth. That's JB Smooth.
Hey, also, don't forget about that running back trade as well, too. Cam Akers. But, hey.
I didn't even realize he got traded.
Yeah, see?
It's Cam Akers. I mean.
You know what? Let me pull a Neil rule. The amount of people who are just like, oh my God, I got Cam Akers in fantasy the last couple of years. I always hear about it. I never see it. Cam Akers is a jag. Just a guy. But anywho.
Hey, I was going to say, look, man, we got Lions. Let's see here. Hey, and the legend, Rod Beard, on today. Woodward Pistons segment. Got some interesting things to kick around and around the NFL as well. Hey, shout out to Alim McNeil. We're going to get to that.
Oh, yeah.
As we get around the city, the Detroit Pistons, they come home after going 1-1 on their West Coast road trip. defeating the Phoenix Suns on the road, losing to the Golden State Warriors. A lot to like. The most consistent thing, Jaden Ivey, but we'll get into that a little bit later. They play J.B. Bickerstaff's old team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, at 7 p.m. tonight at Little Caesars Arena. So that's going to be a fun time, man.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if I'll be able to make the shoot-around right after the show, but I will make the early one before the game. So we'll get some content. We'll throw that up, and we'll have all the audio and such, maybe for the show tomorrow. But also got to talk about these Detroit Tigers, man. Postseason might be over as it relates to their play, but a couple of them, they're going to get some postseason nods as it relates to these awards.
Absolutely. And I'm sure this is going to make the entire WUW Crew audience happy, at least in the short term. But Jake Rogers is a Gold Glove finalist.
Let's go.
A man who has become a fan favorite. Really showed out, really had his offensive coming out party in the playoffs this year. Will it translate to next season? I'm not so sure about that, but he will always
Here you go.
Hey, he will always be a postseason, like, I don't want to say a postseason hero or a legend because they didn't win. Not his fault, by the way, but just somebody who you look back and be like, man, Jake Rogers really elevated his game in this postseason and was one of the bigger reasons why you won as many games as you did.
Has he done enough to become one of Flannel's godsons? Now, we know Riley Green is there.
And that's okay, by the way.
What do you think are the chances of him actually winning the award?
This is where old Flannel Sam has to be the wet blanket.
Here you go.
KG, get ready.
And that's all right. Jake Rogers should not win objectively. And that's okay, by the way, because I crunched the numbers because, of course, I did. He's going up against. Hey, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to be objective. He's going up against Freddie Fermin of the Royals and Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners. And when you look at the numbers, both Freddie Fermin and Cal Raleigh have a higher defensive WAR, and they have more defensive runs saved than Jake Rogers. And if you're looking at two different scenarios, both Jake Rogers and Freddie Fermin, they were more part-time guys. But Freddie Fermin, at least on a per-game basis, is the best defensive catcher in Major League Baseball. He's basically Yadier Molina-esque behind the plate. I don't understand why the Royals use Salvador Perez behind the plate as much as they do. They should go with Freddie Fermin more and maybe DH Salvi more, or maybe move him to first, but that's neither here nor there. But Cal Raleigh, what really sets him apart from even Jake Rogers and Freddie Fermin is he's kind of a throwback. He started 125 games behind the plate, whereas Freddie Fermin started 70 and Jake Rogers started 81. So that, I think, gives him a bit of a bump. So to me, Jake Rogers, love what he did catching Tarek Skubal particularly, had a very good season behind the plate, but objectively should not win the Gold Glove. And that's okay, by the way. Being top three, I'm not mad at that.
KG, can you tell Flannel why he should stop being a deadbeat and accept Jake Rogers as his son?
He should, because I don't know. You cannot address the Golden Walrus like that. You have to call them the Golden Walrus now. Like, seriously, like, everything that he did in the postseason, and we all know the regular season numbers wasn't that great. We just being real here. But the fact, that, one, for Tarek Skubal, he is the best catcher possible. And the fact that his postseason run really elevated the Tigers, I mean, you probably right. He won't win the Golden Glove Award, but it's at least nice to see the recognition, right?
Hey, Rando Smalls, you hater. You've been a hater ever since. And by the way, Rando Smalls,
Rando Smalls?
I met you at the Allied Challenge. I kind of wish I hadn't. If you tried to shake my hand right now, I'd probably smack it away. But anywho, Rando Smalls, let me respond to this. It's called handling pitchers. You wouldn't know anything about that, Sam. You know what? Did you know? Because I got the numbers and you obviously don't, that the Seattle Mariners have the most quality starts of any team in Major League Baseball. And who was the catcher who caught almost all of those games? Cal Raleigh! Wow! So no, I'm not being a hater. I'm just being objective with numbers. If Jake Rogers would have earned the Gold Glove, I would say that he deserves one. I do think he deserved to be a finalist. I just don't think he deserves it over Freddie Fermin or Cal Raleigh. Sue me. Sue me. You can't, because I got the numbers and you don't. You just have your Rake Rogers feelings. And don't get me wrong, Rake Rogers was a very, very good defensive catcher. But we can't account anything he did offensively in the playoffs towards his Gold Glove campaign, and he just didn't earn it over those two. Not hater shit, just reality.
What up, though, JB Smooth?
Flannel's a hater. And Jake made himself so easy to love.
This booth, dog, I'm telling you, ain't nobody better than him. And you know what? Listen, I need you guys, get your feelings in the chat. Get your reactions, your responses in the chat back to Flannel Sam about this Jake Rogers. Look, man, he is definitely trying to dodge the child support right now.
I swear.
He about to listen to the KDK read today.
Right.
But we also got another guy, man, Riley Green, all-star.
Yes.
Does he deserve anything else this year?
Riley Green got snubbed from being a finalist for the left field Gold Glove. And here's why. And I'll unpack this all in real time.
Jake Rogers is in the corner like, what do I have to do?
Hold on. I'll give you examples.
What you do is going to bring up Riley Green.
When it comes to defensive war, let me start with this. The finalists were Stephen Kwan, which, damn, that MFer again. Alex Verdugo.
The Guardians have a lot of finalists for Gold Glove Awards.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Stephen Kwan, I respect him, but that doesn't mean that I have to like him. And he is a good defensive player, but just not as good as Riley Green this year. All right, so the finalists are Stephen Kwan, Alex Verdugo, and Colton Cowser. Riley Green has a higher defensive WAR than all three of those guys combined. Riley Green has 14 defensive runs saved. Stephen Kwan, Alex Verdugo, and Colton Cowser combined have 18, and that is according to Fielding Bible. And Colton Cowser actually has a negative defensive wins above replacement. And I thought to myself, maybe they're counting against Riley Green that he did play the majority of his games in left field, but he was kind of all over the place. He played some in center, and he played some in right. And for the record, Alex Verdugo and Stephen Kwan, both of them were pretty much exclusively left fielders. But Colton Cowser, man, Colton Cowser's another one that played the majority of his games in left field, but also played a lot of games in center field and right. Riley Green had 81 games started in left. Colton Cowser had 91. So that means that they're not using that Colton Cowser can also be a finalist while playing all over the outfield, and Riley Green cannot. I know people are going to be like, oh, of course you cape up for Riley Green and you dismiss Jake Rogers. That's not what's happening, because above all, I like numbers. I like metrics. Riley Green has them. He should actually win the Gold Glove for left field, and Jake Rogers, although he should be a finalist for the Gold Glove at catcher, should not win it.
Sam, do you like mustaches?
That's what I was about to say. I'm looking at the chat. I'm like,
Answer the question, Sam. Do you like mustaches?
You're being accused of being a stash hater.
You know what it is? I don't give a fuck. Everybody knows all that ancillary stuff does not affect me at all. Can you play? And for the record, I feel like I have to say this every single time. Jake Rogers is a very good defensive catcher. He handled Tarek Skubal masterfully, and he was very good in the playoffs, both offensively and defensively.
No, he did not. He did not.
No, I said I don't care about mustaches. I clearly did answer the question.
Hey, listen. I haven't even seen people say, of course, Riley Green. I think I might have seen one. Most people, they believe it's just pure hate for Jake Rogers.
It isn't. And the Shaquille Oatmeal. How are you going to throw Riley Green but shit on Rake Rogers? I'd say that's a hater.
There's the one. He found the one.
Let me remind you of something that the Shaquille Oatmeal said. And I promise, we will kumbaya in the next segment. And I think we should kumbaya now because I'm just talking about the numbers. Remember this.
You're not largely wrong either.
When I said that Riley Green was arguably the biggest reason why the Detroit Tigers made the playoffs, which it is arguable when you look at all of his hitting numbers, do you know what the Shaquille Oatmeal said? Wow, Flannel, you must be joking. Riley Green doesn't have even an ounce of a clutch gene. And I thought to myself, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Because first of all, if you lead your team in home runs, RBIs, batting average, on-base percentage, OPS, and WAR, at least out of qualified hitters, you obviously had a lot to do with the Tigers making the playoffs. That's objective. And if you can't see that, you're an idiot. And also, when let's just go to this clutch gene stuff, which is absolute nonsense. Did you see those 2 home runs he hit against Baltimore in Game 3 of that series? Did you see that RBI that he got in the 10th inning? I believe it was at Kansas City. Did you see that RBI that he got to open the scoring in Game 3 of the ALDS? And just for the record, in that Game 4 and Game 5 stretch where the Tigers were 2 of 23 with runners in scoring position, Riley Green was only 0 for 1. Yeah, he didn't come through the one time that that he had an at-bat with runners in scoring position, but he was not the problem. So the Shaquille O'Neal, I'm not hating. I'm just being objective. Both Riley Green and Jake Rogers had roles on this team and will have roles in the future. I'm a numbers guy, and numbers don't lie.
Hey, does Riley Green have a mustache? I rest my case.
No.
I rest my case.
Oh,
Judge,
man. You see Randall
Smalls'
Smalls' super chat. I'll let you be the judge if you want to read it or not. Goodness gracious.
I have forgotten more about baseball than you, Sam will ever know. I was bummed I didn't meet Broder too, which I don't blame you for that. Broder's a great guy.
Great human being.
And I for your sake, I wish you would have met Broder, but that's not true, Rando. There's not I would contend, and this isn't me trying to be on some braggadocious shit, that there's not a 32-year-old man alive who knows more baseball history than old Flannel Sam. I'm a geek. I have a gift. I watch Ken Burns baseball for fun.
Nerd.
Because it's one of the greatest documentaries ever. Like I said, some people have gifts for some things. I have a lot of limitations, which you guys all know. All you guys know. I'm just a very vanilla human being, but one thing that I do know is retention for information.
You know what? I know we got to get to the next segment, especially on the day that we got the legend Rob Beard on, but I know we got the J-Mo watch. We got the Dick Campbell watch. I think we might have to have the stash watch, man.
Watch
something that Jake Rogers does where then Flannel's going to have to grow out the
mustache
mustache. We're going to have to set something up. Chat family, help us out, man. Let's figure this out. Shout out to you, chat family, as well. Everybody, all of the legends, all of the regulars. Mike G, Phil, the Shaquille O'Neal, Herb Nash. See you, the Smoke. Tammy Chin. See you. The real K77.
Rando Small says numbers mean nothing. So does...
Love you, chat family.
Are you a fan of... Who are you a fan of? In Major League Baseball, Rando Smalls. Who are you a fan of? Are you a fan of Babe Ruth? Are you a fan of Ricky Henderson? Are you a fan of, like, Roger Clemens? Are you a fan of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of examples, like Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, Miguel? You're probably a fan of Miguel Cabrera since you're watching a Detroit sports show. Does the Triple Crown mean anything to you? Does his 500 home runs mean anything to you? If you say yes, then everything that you just said was invalid. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, along with what the Shaquille O'Neal said the other day with Riley Green not having a clutch gene was the reason why he didn't deserve credit for the Tigers making the playoffs. Idiotic, stupid, that's hater shit.
Steve-O, baby. I see you, Steve-O, baby. Kool-Aid. What the hell did I just walk into?
We still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We got to talk about some breaking news. Alim McNeil got paid.
He did.
Now we can kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya, woo, kumbaya.
Jimmy Swoon, we might have to get the haters ball overlay. We might have to, bro.
We can do that.
Hey, what? Did you guys want to know what? Where you can watch the best pregame, the best Lions pregame show every single home game? Hey, it's Detroit's very own second best bar, located at 42 Washington Street for the ultimate fan experience. Enjoy some smooth Tullamore 2 Irish whiskey. Man, I'm not reading the chat no more.
Yeah.
While catching, y'all messing me up in the ad read. I'm sitting here trying to block. All right. While catching the WUW Sports pregame show, only at second best bar. Come get some. This break is probably gonna be wild.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season.
And take advantage of our $20 haircut special.
Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford and Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Let's drive right down the legendary Woodward Avenue where all four pro sports teams play. Hey, and you know what? October and Indeed, they're all active this month. And it's been awesome to kind of experience. Hopefully in the future, our Detroit Tigers are on a path where they give us a little longer playoff run and we can finally taste the victory of a World Series again. But the Detroit Lions, man, they didn't waste any time after the news of Aiden Hutchinson with making some noise and some news of their own. Alim McNeil got paid, man. Got paid. 4-year extension. Was it 97 up to $97 million?
It was a 4 years, $97 million with a guaranteed of 55. Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin with that. I'm happy that big fella got paid. I feel like it's a little bit of space in there that says, hey, you know what? Go out there and earn this contract. Go out there and make your play, make it worth the $97 million. We believe you can get there. I'm glad that they locked him up, though, especially with what's going on right now.
The funny thing is, the more that I crunch the numbers, the more that I think about it, the better that this contract ages with me. Because when you first hear almost $25 million a year for Alim McNeil, I kind of bristled at that for a second, like, damn, that is a lot of money. But when you really look at him, when you really look at how productive that Alim McNeil was, when you look at last season, he had 5 sacks and was the 8th rated PFF defensive tackle in all of the NFL. All of the NFL, ahead of notable guys such as Vita Vea, Eric Armstead, and Justin, now Nnamdi Madubuike. This season, he had his best game of the year against the Cowboys. He has 2.5 sacks, and overall, when you include his pass rushing numbers, he's also very, very good against the run. One of the key components on stopping running backs up the middle. I think we would all agree with that. And he is the 6th highest ranked PFF defensive tackle, ahead of Madubuike, Jalen Carter, Vita Vea, Eric Armstead, Jeffrey Simmons, and Leonard Williams. The numbers play out that Alim McNeil is one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL and that he's going to be a future, probably multiple-time Pro Bowler. And we would all agree that he is one of the key components to why the Lions are so good.
Oh, yeah. It's like the prophecy from the offseason has come true. He is one of those $20 million men, and he's put in the work, and that's why I'm glad to see him get paid. And the culture that Brad Holmes continues to set is that they have their own metric, not just in how they evaluate players, but also in how they're going to pay players. Because, you know, you're hearing other players out there, some Steelers players out there talking about, you know, Amon-Ra being a slot merchant, and you hear people taking shots at the fact that he got paid like he's a real number one when he's just a slot guy. You know what? Brad Holmes and co, they do not care about your narratives. They do not care about your outside noise. And I do believe that the Alim McNeil one, it's a little less controversial to the outside eye, but I do believe it gives him an opportunity to prove that he's one of those dudes. Shout out to Neil, too, for sending this to the group chat from Spotrac. And what I find interesting here is just the split. His $55 million guaranteed ranks him 9th, which is, based on the numbers you stated, it's probably...
that sounds about right.
It's really, I was going to say it's appropriate.
If you were to
it's probably
tell me
a little bit good.
Yeah, if you were to tell me that Alim McNeil is the 9th best defensive tackle in football, I'd probably be like, that sounds about right.
Yep.
Something like that.
And if he hits the top end, then it puts him 4th behind some big names like Chris Jones, Christian Wilkins, and Nnamdi Madubuike.
Yes, and that's the thing. When you hear that Alim McNeil is the 4th highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL on an average annual value basis, it seems a little high. Like, for example, he's higher paid than Quinnen Williams, Chase's boy Derek Brown, and Dexter Lawrence, which that obviously, those guys are better than him right now. But when you look at Alim McNeil, when you look at the rankings, obviously Chris Jones is number one. He's the best defensive tackle in football. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
Not at all.
But when you look at the next two, you've got Christian Wilkins and Nnamdi Madubuike. Both of them are very good players. Both of them set their career high in sacks last season. But Alim McNeil's playing better than both of them right now. I think Alim McNeil projects to be better this season and maybe a better future player than those guys. I'm a little worried if I'm a Ravens fan about Madubuike being a bit of a flash in the pan. You're obviously not worried about that with Wilkins, but with Madubuike, I think he's got to beat some allegations. My point is that Alim McNeil, he could be a top 5 defensive tackle in the NFL as early as the end of this season. And if he does that, and as more players begin to get more deals, I think this contract will age better.
He's also younger than both those people you just mentioned as well.
That's a good point.
Man, those are some good points. You know what? Brad Holmes is cooking, man. What up, though, KG?
No, I agree with everything Sam said. And when you look at the landscape of defensive tackles in the NFL, he's making around market value. I mean, you got Chris Jones, who, of course, is probably the best D tackle in the NFL. He's making around $31 million per year. But everybody else, Christian Wilkins, 27.5, Justin Madubuike, 24.5, Jeffrey Simmons, 23.5, DeForest Buckner, 23. Like Sam said, Leonard Williams, he's just around 21.5, and Kenny Clark around 21.5. And Alim McNeil is scheduled to make just under $25 million a year. So I think this is right around market value. And if I'm putting my tinfoil hat on, I really think that the Lions are guaranteed to make a move now. Because you look at what they did, I don't think this move happens without the Hutch injury. With Hutch going down, they don't have to necessarily worry about extending him right at this moment. They can take that money, put it towards Alim, lock him up before he hits the free market, and now they know exactly how much they have going into the trade deadline to try to make a move for this team. So I think this almost solidifies that the Lions will make a move at the deadline.
Wow. Because I've seen other people as well believe that it might be something that proves that, you know what, they're just going to kind of do something under the radar. And I know we have some segments ahead that are going to discuss some of Dan Campbell's statements about their strategy. Part of me thinks as well, maybe there's a little bit of gamesmanship, because if the right offer presents itself, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, and the funny thing, too, is that we're seeing Brad Holmes. He's proven that if he drafts you, or even if he doesn't draft you, if he acquires you in the case of Jared Goff and David Montgomery, and you produce, he will reward you in kind. We saw it with Penei Sewell, and we saw it with Amon-Ra St. Brown already, and now we're seeing it with Alim McNeil. And honestly, when I first heard about the deal, one of my reservations was, man, are they going to have enough to make a big splash move? Which is still what I want, although I would accept something less. But I still would like a splash move, at the very least something like Trey Hendrickson or Harold Landry. Do they have enough? And the answer is, they probably still could.
Absolutely.
This season, the Alim McNeil extension doesn't affect the cap at all. He's still playing on the last year of his contract. And next year in 2025, it's listed on Spotrac as they have $87 million of cap space, and that does not factor in the Alim McNeil deal. Let's just say that Alim McNeil is a $24 million cap hit. That would give you $63 million. And then in the case of that, you would still have the cap to go after somebody big or somebody smaller, sign your draft class, maybe make another free agent signing or two, maybe get another extension or two, and then but then you maybe have to get rid of or let walk guys like Onwuzurike or Derek Barnes or Iffy or Carlton Davis or Kevin Zeitler. Those are guys that you're going to have to make decisions about now, but the decision has already been made on Alim McNeil, and he has earned an extension with the way he has played in the last season plus. He has. Is it $24 million a year? That's debatable, but I think he can play his way into that being a very good deal.
Yeah, and you got to think about it. When you compare the guaranteed money to where he can get, they're telling him, go and earn $24.5 million. Yeah. If you got guys who have played against some of the best tackles in the league telling you that, yes, he's worth $20 million a year, what's $4.5 million? That's that go get it money. And what have we seen from Alim McNeil? He's going to go get it. I love the fact that they also... You just remove any aspect of just a contract year bump. You got your money, you got paid. Alim McNeil, I believe you give him that money if you know your guys, if you know, nope, he's a worker. We know exactly what he is. Yeah. You know, and just kind of seeing Alim McNeil at some of the other events, because he's connected to the Boys and Girls Club. Jerome Bettis does a lot of work with the Southeast Michigan location. he's just a guy that you want here.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that they locked him in and are telling him, hey, look, you know what? This is what we believe you can be. Top 5 in the league.
Sure, and I want to go back to this really quick. One of the reasons why I brought up PFF, a lot of people disagree on its importance. I'm obviously a PFF guy. A lot of people, both at this network and in the chat, are not. I do think it's very valuable, though, when it comes to defensive tackles, especially when it is supplemented by the eye test. We've seen Alim McNeil wreck games. We've seen him wreck games both rushing the passer and just being a black hole in terms of stopping the run. And I also think when it comes to defensive tackles, when it comes to certain players like an Alim McNeil, like a Derek Brown, like a DJ Reader, guys where counting stats don't really tell the whole story, PFF is actually a good metric to use to show how valuable these guys are. Because guys like Alim McNeil and DJ Reader and Derek Brown, they're never going to be at the top of the sack lists, although Alim McNeil I actually think might. We'll see about that. He had 5 of 13 games last year. But the point is that they might not be at the top of the sack list or the TFL list or the hits list or the tackles list, but they impact the game better than most defensive tackles in the NFL do. And that's why I think PFF is very valuable for certain position groups more than others.
Hey, chat family, definitely get into the comments right now. Your thoughts about the Alim McNeil deal. And you put out a video as well last night.
Yeah.
We got up on the YouTube and everything, and it did quite well. Congratulations on that, by the way. But some of these comments, man, they are all over the place. You got, I'm not even going to attempt to read the name, at MJIW, Alim isn't worth it at all, but whatever. And then you got the other aspect of it that just says, you know what, this deal is going to be a great deal by the end of the contract. It's like I'm seeing, and it's multiple comments in here where you see people that are absolutely against it. I didn't even know it was going to be that polarizing. So our chat family, definitely let your feelings be known. Let me get a poll up there. I saw the last one there. They all believe that you're a stash hater.
That is a fact.
That's right. And for the record, if you have some reservations, that one comment was a little like he's not worth it at all.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
something that's something that I can't get down with.
You just
at
ain't
all.
watched him.
Then you just aren't watching, and you're just a hater. But if you're one of those guys that had a few reservations on first listen, I'm not necessarily mad at it because I had a couple too. But that's where I had to really, really dive deep into how good Alim McNeil is, what his salary is compared to other top defensive tackles, and just what this could actually do to the Lions' future. Because I don't think it's going to hamper them moving forward in terms of who to pay and who not to pay, at least when it comes to the must-haves. I think at this point, nobody is pounding the table that you must re-sign Iffy and you must re-sign Derek Barnes.
Yeah.
Hell, Iffy has done nothing this season and the defense looks fine, and Derek Barnes, what if the defense continues to look great without him?
Yeah.
Those are guys that you can just let walk. No disrespect to them. I appreciate them for their services, but the more you dive into it, and I think the more you see Alim McNeil play, the better this contract will age.
Yep, and this is why you have the front office that you do right now, and you can trust that those guys are going to make the right moves. Up to this point, what have they given us to doubt?
Yeah.
Up to this point, the most that we've doubted is that, hey, maybe they take some chances on some oft-injured guys, but realistically, I'm not going to sneeze at the strategy because the team is winning. What are we going to talk about?
It works.
The drafts are winning. Most of the free agents are winning. It's just like, you know what? If it works, it works. And yep, thank you, JB. We got that chat in the poll. Definitely, guys, make your voice heard. And Mike G, he says, flannel is our Dan Orlovsky, and that's a good thing.
I mean, I don't know if I'm at that level yet, but, I appreciate that, Mike G.
Wait.
I do my best.
Dan Orlovsky on the Lions or Dan Orlovsky in media? That's a distinction.
Which one?
That's a distinction.
A little bit of both.
Well,
Hey.
Depending on the take. It depends on the take.
I
but-
will say this. I didn't cost my team 2 points.
Hey.
That's true.
But I'm pretty
Hey.
sure Dan Orlovsky threw at least one touchdown pass with the Lions. I can't confirm that, but I'm sure he did.
Hey, the AJ Hinch take, back of the end zone.
Absolutely.
You ran out the back.
We'll shake hands on that. Yes, I did. Absolutely.
But you know what? Dan Campbell had some interesting comments about what they're going to do on this defensive line. Obviously, this breaking news, but we're waiting for more breaking news, potentially.
Yeah.
But we'll see what we get in the next segment.
Oh, yes, but first, I have to give you my Dispo ad read, which you all love. And this is the actual Text, by the way. It's not me just being a dork. How would you like to win free bud for a year? That's right, free smoke, weed, reefer, flower, however you refer to your favorite cannabis product. It's your chance to win free cannabis for a year, compliments of Dispo Dispensary. JB and KG got some other ones.
Marijuana.
All you have to do is scan the QR code on the screen, sign up, and you'll be entered for a chance to win.
Devil's lettuce.
Oh, marijuana. Yeah. I do love Kid Cudi. Don't miss out on the insane giveaway. Sign up today to elevate your game.
About that Man on the Moon 2.
Oh, Man on the Moon 1 and 2 classics. Dispo Dispensary, your local plug. Must be 21 or older to enter. Terms and conditions apply.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Hey, I know you've heard about Long Drink, that gin-based cocktail, but we've got one here made right in Michigan so you can support locally, made with all natural ingredients for an even better flavor. It's Taller, the Dutch Long Drink from New Holland Brewing Company, which is shoulders above the rest. Made from New Holland small batch gin, 100% real grapefruit puree for a fresh and delicious flavor for you. It's Taller, your local long drink, and it's made here locally, so you know you gotta support locally.
Hey, and Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. They have 50 Metro Detroit locations. It's the most affordable gym in the gym game, and all of the weights are the exact same size as all of those expensive gyms with those things like basketball courts and swimming pools and rock walls. Who needs them when you're paying that much money? You can get just as good of a workout, if not better, for a better cost at Planet Fitness. So go sign up, get your membership today if you're trying to get in shape on a budget prior to the holiday season. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. Chat family, y'all are definitely on one this morning. I'm just kind of scrolling through and going through and perusing. We're going to get to some of these comments, and we got to talk about something this segment. Beyond just the Alim McNeil news and the Aiden Hutchinson news, but what are you going to do to make sure you can replace Aiden Hutchinson to some degree? Because you can never do that fully, but go on ahead and smash that like button. You know what? Just satisfy it, man. Treat it right.
Wait, what?
Hey, they got to treat it nice. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I'm ready.
There we go.
Well, you know what? I'm always ready, man. I'm always ready to satisfy that like button. And you know, you should plug your phone in real slow. And while you're watching the show, just go ahead and tap that like button. You know what? Tap it twice. You know what? Tap it 3 times. We appreciate you.
Big musket.
Bam! We're back. Shout out to Danny G. He said this is another mastermind move from Brad. Sign your players now and get them at the lowest price they will be.
That's a fact.
You know what? And I appreciate that aspect of Brad Holmes. And to this point, this was the component of it up to this point, up to like these contracts going out. We wanted to see exactly who he was going to be. Obviously, he drafted well. You got some of the right free agents in here to be around these young players. And now the next step in being a GM is once those guys come to the next contract, what are you going to do? It's great that these players are developing, no matter where they're picked in the draft. That's what this is a sign of, that so far, everything is working the way it's supposed to. And they know I can trust these guys with this money.
Yeah. And Dan Campbell, he did an interview with the Flagship, and I just want you, JB, to put up the quote, one of his quotes that I'm curious to see what people in this room and people in the chat think. I'm sure a lot of you heard it already, but Dan Campbell, I think if anything, you're looking for a role player. Elite rushers don't just fall off trees. You're going to have to give up the farm to get them. Sounds... I don't know if that's definitive, and ultimately at the end of the day, Dan Campbell's not the decision maker. It's up to Brad Holmes, but this seems to indicate that Brad Holmes might stay on brand and be more cognizant of the future, even with an Aiden Hutchinson injury.
Especially when you couple that with his earlier statements when he stated, you know what, internal moves, we're going to have to do something. It has some growth within the team. We're going to have some guys step up. We're going to have to change up some schemes. And then he drops these comments as well. It's either a masterful game of gamesmanship where you're trying to make sure that people aren't just running the price up because they sense desperation, or either he really means what he's saying. And to this point, they have been very transparent. So I actually kind of lean towards these comments that they're going to probably play it a little bit safer, probably a little less expensive than some of the splashes that we would want to see.
I think it's a little bit of coach speak, because honestly, if you're going to go out in the market for a role player, why even make a move at all? You already have plenty of those in the building, and that's no disrespect.
So you think it's more a little bit of gamesmanship?
I think so, because and that's not to say Brad Holmes will go out and get that big name player. We still don't know yet. We don't know what it will take to get like a Myles Garrett or somebody of that caliber. But at the same time, why even risk draft capital if you're just going to go out there and get a player that you already kind of got in-house that can just step up and you can just keep this thing rolling like that? So I think by extending Alim, that was a big sign that they are trying to figure out what that would look like long-term if they were to get another piece in here, possibly a piece that might cost a little bit of money. So that's just my philosophy. Why would you look for a role player to replace Aiden Hutchinson's production?
No,
it just don't make sense to me.
I don't hate it at all. You know that I think after going through everything and seeing what it would cost to make said acquisitions, I would probably, if it were my preference, I would obviously choose Myles Garrett because I think he's maybe the best player in football and is a perfect replacement for Aiden Hutchinson and might even be a little bit better at this point in his career. And he's cheaper than he should be, that's for sure. But you'd probably have to give up a lot of draft capital. Or Trey Hendrickson, somebody who you wouldn't have to give up as much, cost a little bit less, but this season you reunited with DJ Reader. He's your number one pass rusher. I think you'd be comfortable with him with that under those circumstances. And then next year you make Trey Hendrickson and Aiden Hutchinson your bookends because Hendrickson would still be under contract, and that's sexy.
There you go.
Especially with Alim and DJ Reader right there in the middle. However, I am going to go off the premise that Dan Campbell was telling the truth and that there are some role players out there that maybe the Lions could get. And I'm glad that was bantered about because I found an article by Eric Schlitt from Pride of Detroit. I think he did a very good job of illustrating the different tiers of edge rushers that the Lions could potentially get, kind of like we did yesterday. But there's a few names that he brought up that I thought were interesting. He mentioned Jadeveon Clowney, a name that's been brought up. He mentioned Jamin Davis of the Commanders. He mentioned Josh Uche of the Patriots, former Michigan guy. And he mentioned somebody that I might try to sell you guys on, if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
Azeez Ojulari from the New York Giants.
I like him.
And for the purpose of this, I'm going to pretend that I'm Brad Holmes. I'm not Flannel Sam. I'm going to think from the mind of Brad. Because Azeez Ojulari, when you think about him, he has been very productive. He averages for his career almost exactly a half a sack per game, which is very good. That gives you about 8 or 8.5 now with 17 games. He's cheap. He's on an expiring contract. You probably wouldn't have to give up a lot to get him, and he would basically be a non-factor when it comes to this year's cap. But also with Azeez Ojulari, there's a factor that is very unique to Brad Holmes. He's injured all the time. Hey! That's not even a shot. Brad Holmes continues to do this.
You're thinking like Brad. You're looking for the links. And we got to be honest. We already talked about it. We know this is one of his traits.
Yes. and that's the thing. He's on bread. You saw it again with Marcus Davenport, and it kind of burned him. That's neither here nor there, but Azeez Ojulari, he's injured all the time. He's not somebody that I think the Giants are going to be interested in re-signing because they have, maybe on paper, the best defensive line in football already with Brian Burns, with Dexter Lawrence, and with Kayvon Thibodeau. They're probably going to re-sign Kayvon. Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns are locked up and expensive, and they have this great defensive line almost for no reason because they're still not going to win anyway. So why the hell would they want to re-sign Azeez Ojulari when he's on an expiring contract? And I understand if you're on an expiring contract, Azeez Ojulari doesn't necessarily help you in the coming years unless you want to re-sign him. But he is better than anybody that they've got right now. And another concern that I heard about Azeez Ojulari, which I wanted to put to bed a little bit, is that he's more of a linebacker. He's not going to line up on the defensive line. He could be more of a Sam. However, when you look at his snap alignment, almost all of his snaps in the last couple of years have been on the line and outside of the tackle. I'm just saying, Azeez Ojulari, when he plays, is very productive. And at least this season, he hasn't been injured yet. And he's cheap. And you barely have to give up anything to get him. So, Azeez Ojulari, what say you, Kool-Aid?
Hey, you know what? You make the case. I know that KG was saying he likes him as well. If they're going to go the cheap route, if they're going to go the route where you're looking for, you know what, the best bang for your buck and somebody who you know can help make a difference on the way to a Super Bowl, then let's get it done. Talk to me about it, KG.
That's the problem. I do like him as a player. He's not making a difference this year in terms of a Super Bowl run. So that's my point. Like, you can't cheap out on this thing. And that's really the conclusion that I'm coming to. If you cheap out on this thing, you're not really making up the production of Aiden Hutchins, and you're just adding another body, which, yeah, it can help you, but how much is it really going to help you in terms of getting over the hump? That's my whole problem. Why even waste the draft capital? If you're going to do that, just stick with what you got and ride it out.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that because I get it. Dan Campbell makes a statement, so you want to address it and at least paint the picture. My mind first went to a little bit of gamesmanship, and that's why I was kind of bringing it up in my earlier comments, and you kind of tipped it over for me a little bit. That's like, you know what?
And even with
they just need more bodies, or do they already got bodies?
Even with Ojulari, like you said, he's injury prone as well. So that's not somebody that I want to see Brad lock up long term if they were to keep him after this year anyway.
You don't have to keep him after this year, and I get it.
But if you're gonna do a rental, then go all out and get a stud.
And that's what I want.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think like Brad Holmes, and in terms of what Dan Campbell said.
And you did qualify that in the beginning. He was like, because after you made the point about, Kool-Aid, it is gamesmanship, he was like, I'm glad you said that. I'm feeling that. I wish it was that. But based on the comments and based on how we've seen Brad do things, you do got to present that type of option.
Well, and that's the thing. I find it, and I get it, it's a different sport. I trust me, I understand what I'm about to say might not make sense to some, but to me that reminds me a bit of how I feel about the Tigers, at the very least, if they want to moneyball this thing, going after Jesse Winker and maybe not going after a Alex Bregman or a Pete Alonso or a Juan Soto. Would I technically prefer the Tigers to spend more? Absolutely, but Jesse Winker is one of the greatest values in Major League Baseball. And Azeez Ojulari, even if you just want to use him as a Band-Aid, which only covers up like a third of your wound this year, I understand that it doesn't sound like much, but you wouldn't have to give up a ton. He is better at rushing the passer than anybody that they currently have right now, and he's cheap. And hell, maybe if they decide to sign an Azeez Ojulari long-term, you've seen that, or at least give him a short-term contract of a higher AAV, they have the cap space to do it next year. And again, this is me as if I were Brad Holmes. Give me Myles Garrett, give me Trey Hendrickson. I'm feeling kind of reckless right now. But there are more Moneyball-style options. They don't have to make the splash to improve the team. Would Azeez Ojulari improve this team by himself to be the Super Bowl favorites? No, I don't think he would. But he would be better than what they currently have, and he would cost you basically nothing.
What's the point of making a trade?
Yeah, part of me feels like if y'all listen, you guys, you old heads, you're gonna remember Duck Hunt. Shout out to NES. Yep. Part of me just feels like he's just been waiting for the perfect shot. Like, you know what I mean? Because up to this point, you've played your cards right. You've given yourself some flexibility financially, and now you have an opportunity to honestly take any one of these roads. Because with the Tigers, and I understand the analogy, with the Tigers, they're still trying to add to make sure that they can bolster playoff runs.
Yeah.
With the Lions, more to your point, KG, this is, and to everyone's point, this is a Super Bowl year.
You got one hurdle to get over.
You want to punch, and that's why I'm glad he's like, look, let's get reckless. Let's get wild and reckless, because I want to see the Detroit Lions do something special this year, and I do believe they can. Losing Aiden Hutchinson, we're going to continue to say it, that's huge. Yeah. But I still believe this team got something special.
Yeah, and just to clarify in the chat, clearly you can't replace Aiden Hutchinson's production. I wasn't saying that, but you can get similar production. You know, and that's my whole thing, is just why even make a move if it's not going to be that, because it makes no sense to me. A role player is not helping you get to the Super Bowl.
And the funny thing is, too, actually, if you really decide to go out and give Cleveland or Las Vegas an offer they can't refuse, then yes, Max Crosby and Myles Garrett actually do make up for Hutch's production. I think Trey Hendrickson is close. He's not quite as good, and he's definitely not as good as terms of being an all-around defensive line in terms of setting the edge and going up against the run. But he's had 3 seasons of 13.5 sacks. He's had 2 seasons of at least 14, one with 17.5 with DJ Reader on the defensive line right next to him. So there are moves you can make where you can replace Hutch's production, or at least come close. Azeez Ojulari is not one of them, but as I said before, he is better than what you have now. And if you're one of those people that thinks that they could still do it even with what they have in-house, then you got to believe that if Azeez Ojulari is there, that you could still make the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. If you're one of those people that already thinks just next man up, then what do you have against Azeez Ojulari? I don't think that's what you think.
No, not at all. He's Marcus Davenport to me.
Hey,
like if you didn't have Hutch but had Marcus Davenport, is that enough? Like, I just, I
get it, man. I do.
It's just, why even just keep the draft capital, because Brad Holmes can go get you that type of player in the draft.
Listen, we're all kumbaya at Reckless Park, right?
Yeah,
that's where we are. There may be a cheap option, but I'm like, man, you know what? Just smack this thing out the park. And it's ironic. We got to get the legend on. This just popped up. Rod Beard evaluating 12 potential trade candidates to replace Lions Aiden Hutchinson. Detroit News. So, hey, you know what? Let's get into the next segment. Shout out to the Real K77, $4.99 super chat.
It's my dog.
Big ups to the WUW Crew.
Big ups to you, bro.
Shout out to you.
Hey, big ups, and while I'm calling out haters, Phil, Sam's speeches are getting boring. Do you know what's never boring, though? What's never boring? Phil. Woodward and Main, the pregame show.
Long middle finger.
Hey, Detroit, on game day, wake up with Woodward and Main, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champions, your Detroit Lions, with insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit, every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. Woodward and Main, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Tall your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. And then, of course, tap into the New Holland Brewing Company Lions pregame show. Neil and Sean look like a bunch of trustworthy guys right there, ready to bring you Lions game day content. It's the New Holland Brewing Company pregame show. Every game day, Neil Rule and Sean Belegian bring you the best Lions pregame show.
Michigan sucks,
Sundays at 8 to noon on Woodward Sports. Live at Second Best Bar in Detroit, the latest injury reports, fantasy sit and starts, and the inside scoop on your Detroit Lions. Join us for every Sunday home games live at Second Best Bar in Detroit, your official guide to Lions game day. On Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Tall your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, and Les Stanford Chevrolet.
To prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
From Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. With 10-plus years of experience and 24/7 availability, scan the QR code on the screen or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
Hey, KDK Law got your back. Hopefully one day Flannel Sam will have Jake Rogers back.
He won't.
I do. He just didn't deserve to win the Gold Glove. And for the record, Jake, when it comes to defensive war, Jake Rogers had less than Freddie Fermin and Cal Raleigh. No smarm, it's just facts. And Riley Green had more than Colton Cowser, Stephen Kwan, and Alex Verdugo combined. There's levels to this, man.
What does Pat Mahomes and Hutch have in common?
What do they have in common?
They don't have mustaches.
It's fine. So for the people saying that
I rest my case.
So for the people saying that I'm just like throating Riley Green and hating on Jake Rogers indiscriminately, I got to give you those numbers again. And for the record, thank you, Jake Rogers, for what you did in the regular season and in the playoffs. You were valuable.
And again, those numbers were he doesn't have a mustache, but the other players do.
Exactly.
And
he does have one and the other players don't.
Yeah.
And if you want me to throw you guys this bone, I may have changed my mind about Jake Rogers being a part of the Tigers' future.
Oh my God.
And we might talk about that this week.
If he shaves his mustache. That's Sam's words, not mine.
Well, you know what? Let's get the legend on here. Like we already talked about, the tweet that already went out. Detroit News, I guess the X post. Detroit News sports editor-in-chief Rod Beard. Welcome to the show, brother. Hope the day has started off well for you.
Fellas, it must be Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday, man. And you know what? We're sitting over here now, day 2, day 3, deliberating. How are the Detroit Lions going to replace Aiden Hutchinson? Rod Beard, what's been your deliberations?
I'm going to go off the board. I'm normally the very measured, very reasonable, very
Are you getting reckless?
hot-takey guy. Why do you only have to go and get one of those guys?
Get reckless, Rod!
Because we see the impact of injuries, and if you have a window where you're going for it this year, does anybody in the NFC scare you right now? Anybody?
No,
not a one.
You should be able to make it to the Super Bowl if that's the case. Does anybody in the AFC scare you?
No.
Not
Flannel?
really.
Flannel? Not really.
You always have to be mindful of the Chiefs. They've won 3 out of the last 5. I'm not Chiefs fan Flannel.
Pat Mahomes doesn't have a mustache. We've already established
It's factual.
It's fair.
Oh, man. And you know what? Yep.
No, I would suggest you don't have to stop at 1. You got $28 million in cap space. Go and do it. If you got to give up some capital to do it and you win a Super Bowl, nobody cares after that point. You've got to win one of these. And if you came a step short last year of making it to the Super Bowl, don't do anything that would make you fall a step short this year. Go and get extras. Just bring extras. You know how when your mom takes you on a trip somewhere, she brings extra stuff? That's what you need to go and bolster this defensive line with. Extra stuff.
Hey, and you know what, KG had to make a little bit of run during your answer, but he would have absolutely loved it. Rod said get reckless, man. He was like, listen, I know I'm usually measured, but you know what? Why can't they go out and do multiple splashes?
Hell yeah, Rod. That's what I'm talking about, Rod.
Let's go.
I'm trying to win the Super Bowl. I don't know what they came here to do.
Hey, go get Crosby and Hendrickson. Let's just go.
Hey, screw it. Do them both.
Empty the clip. Hey, whatever you got, go get it.
Let's go.
Well, Rod, I kind of feel like you already implied your answer to this with how you answered the first question, but I just have to ask, can this Lions team win a Super Bowl this year, given the Aiden Hutchinson loss, if they just stand pat and don't make a move?
They can, but you're going to need some things to fall your way in that case. And that's why I'm advocating be sure about it. Bring extra guys. If you're depend on what you have and another guy gets injured and it's after the trade deadline, then what are you doing at that point? Go get extra and make sure that you're equipped to make the run that you want to make this year.
Denver Blair is asking, why isn't Rod the GM?
For real.
Brad Holmes is cooking though. So
yeah, I got the gray beard and mustache. I got the bald head. I'm halfway there.
You can be a stand-in. Yeah. You can be a stand-in for him.
But Alim McNeil, man, listen, that's the other news. Alim McNeil got paid 4 years, $97 million total, $55 million guaranteed. We went over it earlier. Ninth highest. With the guaranteed ninth highest with the guaranteed fourth highest if he reaches the max total. What's your first thoughts about Alim McNeil getting a bag?
The first thing that comes to my mind with Alim McNeil is him chasing down Dak Prescott like he was a turkey or something. He just and got that sack. Like, pay that man. Yeah. And that's what I'm glad to see is that the Lions didn't get cheap in the offseason or say, hey, we paid our key guys and we're not paying anybody else. They're going out and making sure that they have the culture that they want, they have the people that they want. And
oh, you there, Rod?
And they're keeping their people. They're not letting any of these guys get away or go through the season wondering, am I going to get a new deal? They're locking all these guys up on their contracts, and that's good to see.
Rod, I would be remiss if I didn't remind or ask you about that absolute beatdown the Lions put on the Cowboys. I get it. There was a dark cloud that ruined the day to some degree, but Rod, how did you feel watching that game? The Lions going into Jerry World and beating the Cowboys 47-9. Like, what was your reaction to that game?
It could have been 60. Easy. They had no trouble just kind of scoring on these guys. And if you're Ben Johnson and you're like, hey, I gotta get a touchdown for Taylor Decker.
Yeah. Like, they tried it, man.
Like, if you're doing that, the key takeaway is it was an easy 50. It wasn't we got to stretch and strain to put this 50 burger on you. It is, we could have done 60 if we really wanted to.
Yes, they certainly could have, but I want to shift gears on another Detroit sports team. When it comes to the Tigers, are you more happy about the season or disappointed the way that it ended?
You have to, and I don't want to tell people how to feel, you have to be happy about this season because when we started, there were 19 people who said they were going to make the playoffs. 19, and that's an unofficial count.
Right.
But
That's about right.
Of those 19 people, 15 had mustaches, and the other 4 did. I mean, this is
Sam hate all 15.
All 15 of them. But they were not expected to make this type of run, and they gave you, as a fan, playoff fever to say baseball is back. You have hope for next year. It's not this pie in the sky. Well, let's see what happens with Matt Manning. Let's see what they can do in free agency. Now it's, okay, well, it's like the Lions last year. Let's build on this and let's see how much farther they can go in the playoffs next year. And that's an exciting piece that's going to get them through the offseason with optimism, with the fan base feeling like, hey, next season is going to have a lot more promise. And now let's look and see what prospects are coming up and what other things they can do in free agency. Can they go out and get a couple of other starting pitchers? Same idea. Why stop at one? Get multiples of those to back up what Scoogle is doing for you already.
Yeah, hey, Rod is preaching, man. Rod is preaching. Hey, KG, did you have anything else before we get into the next one?
Nah, we can go ahead.
One more segment with the legend. He is spitting heat. I love it. Get reckless. Reckless Wednesdays, right?
All the way.
All the way. Let me guys tell you about Lady Jane's. You can walk into any Lady Jane's haircuts for men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a $20 haircut special. Scalp massage, hot lather, neck shave.
You got leather
and
pants,
hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Take advantage of our $20 haircut special. All you got to do is find wherever that QR code is on the screen, somewhere. Just scan it and you will get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Fuel your Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for a big game or savoring a quiet morning, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. Head to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com. Choose your favorite roast. Use code Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake and unwind. Support local and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Hey, and we are back. We got one more segment with the legend. Got to talk a little bit about the Detroit Pistons. They do have a preseason game tonight, and we're going to get into some of that news. But first, you guys already know what we got to do. Got to get that drum roll going for the legend. Let's rock. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Brother, hey, listen, take it away with Rod's thoughts. Then we got a little bit of news we'll get through. Talk about J.B. Bickerstaff's culture, and then we got Swish or Brick today.
Break?
It's based on the ESPN. It's based on the ESPN top 100 NBA players list. We might have some gripes. I told Flannel, bring your Cade cape today. But take it away with Rod's thoughts.
No, we're just a couple of days away from the start of the NBA season, and for Pistons fans, I think the schedule is, as we've talked about, is going to be the thing to pay attention to. So don't get upset if they start out 1-4 or 1-5. That's to be expected. You look at the eye test, the Moet test. My own eye test should tell you whether there's been some improvement at some of the key positions. Is Jaden Ivey starting? Is he coming off the bench? How is he embracing those roles? As the season gets ready to start here, don't be emotional about it, but just be very analytical and look at little pieces of improvement. It might not all be there at once, but I think there are some things you can look forward to.
Definitely some things that you can look forward to, and that was going to be one of the things we talked about first was just kind of the preseason takeaway so far, 2-2 start. Tonight they play J.B. Bickerstaff's old team in the Cleveland Cavaliers. And for me personally, yeah, my biggest takeaway is that the energy looks different. This team, they look like they know where to be on the court. And instantly you saw when Tobias Harris was inserted, instantly what we wanted to see you saw. Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Tobias Harris, each 15 points or over. And they were absolute dogs in the game where KD did play. I know Devin Booker didn't play, but KD did, and Phoenix still ran with most of their regular roster. And you saw the Pistons have some good success with that. That's what you want to see. Obviously, with a lot of people taking the under, according to Caesar Sportsbook, with that 28.5 wins. I'm still going to be a little bit more bullish about the Pistons. I know we gave our preseason takeaways yesterday, but was there anything else you wanted to add before we move on?
I just wanted to ask, is there an individual player that has impressed you the most in this preseason in terms of what they did in the preseason translating to the regular season?
I think it's Jaden Ivey is showing that he has some control and he's just ready to be out there and ball. The timing is the key for me, that he moves so fast. Maybe his brain moves a little bit faster than his legs. But when you get those two things in sync, that he can be a very, very good player. And if your starting position is in question, that's the type of performance that you want to come out and show in the preseason, is that you're ready to take on a leadership role and a starting role in this lineup.
Yep. And he's been, to me, the most consistent player throughout, and probably the best or the most impressive player throughout preseason for the Pistons. And it's a good thing because I know there's only so much you want to take away from preseason, but like you said, with the eye test, just comparing it to last season, Jaden Ivey looks like a completely different player to kick this thing off. Still the same heady mindset where he's going to try and rise above the noise. He's going to do, as a coach's son, you hear all of the speech. Hey, you know what? My job is to go out there and do whatever my team asks of me. And he stayed ready. And beyond that, not just Cade, but Ivy also looks like he was in the weight room all summer too. And you see it out there on the court. I do believe that what we see right now is tangible. It will make its way over to the regular season. And before we get into kind of JB Bickerstaff and this Pistons culture, just a couple updates real quick. The Detroit Pistons and the Detroit City Clerk and Detroit Department of Elections, they have teamed up with the Rock the Vote, and Detroit votes to host Pistons Land What Up Though. It's October 19th. It is a free immersive event, so you guys want to get there. Make sure that you pre-register at pistonsland.com/registration today. You can go to pistonsland.com to learn a little bit more information. But October 19th from noon to 7, listen, Lil Baby, Skilla Baby, Babyface Ray, Peasy, other local and national artists are set to perform as well. I was there for the StockX event. I know you were as well, Rod. And the Pistons, they've done a great job with these types of events and really getting the community something cool to come out to. This event is supposed to be big time, more like kind of like a carnival feel. So I just wanted to make sure that I let you guys know about that. If you were planning to come down there, we're supposed to have some boots on the ground as well. But let's get into these new vibes. JB Bickerstaff. One of the first things, and we laughed about it last week, right? We put up last week's, content, and somebody was like, "Whoa, music in the clips, music in the gym now." Last season, it felt like they were practicing in jail, and this year, I've heard the players talk about JB Bickerstaff being this kind of organized person who has easy to understand processes and instructions. And now we're getting a look at just exactly how his practices in this training camp and what type of identity he's trying to impart to this team. NBA Central, JB Bickerstaff plans to create a new culture in Detroit and says Pistons players are not allowed to wear hoodies during practice. Just the last shred, and this is quote, just the last shred of the old school mentality. Just growing up with that, with my dad. You don't wear anything on your head during the game. You don't wear jewelry. You practice how you play. And then beyond that, the conditioning is something that has kind of, with Cade, Jalen Duren, and others, I'm like, you know what? These guys got to get their conditioning up. If there's one just kind of across-the-board criticism. And that was something that's come out as well about JB Bickerstaff. And Malik Beasley had some comments to say about this. Setting a standard of professionalism, discipline, conditioning. Beasley mentioned that Bickerstaff's conditioning drills at the start of training camp were noticeably difficult, further establishes a structure in which the rest of the players aren't looking solely to Cunningham for leadership. And Beasley said, quote, Bickerstaff says, the conversation I've had with Cade, the way that I see how his teammates follow him and the way that he engages his teammates, he wants to be amongst the elites and understands that winning matters in order to be respected by your peers in that way. And for me, to kind of hear the stuff that Beasley was talking about, it's always good to hear that your young players are engaging in this and they're going to go out there and they're going to make sure they meet the bill as it relates to the conditioning. But JB Bickerstaff coming in here and establishing this and hearing Malik Beasley, who's coming from a winning organization, talk about what the Pistons are doing, it's night and day over what I was hearing and seeing last season. I'm not trying to throw anyone else under the bus, but it's just the my own eye test, right? And so the culture here that's being set up for the Pistons, I do believe that it sets them up well to be one of those teams that's a little bit over. And I know you've had some opportunity to either cover or maybe be around JB Bickerstaff. And just as it relates to your impressions of JB Bickerstaff in this culture, man, the things that you're hearing, just want to be able to get your comments before we move on to the swish or brick.
Right, and we talk about coaches' sons as players, but coaches' sons as coaches, they're going to carry a lot of those same sorts of policies and beliefs into the way that they do things too. So I like the no hoodie policy, but it's also, when you look at what they're doing in the preseason already, the offense looks like it runs better. They're running sets where it's not just go stand in a corner and let Cade create and kick to you over there.
Yeah.
It is, we're running kind of curls. We're doing things. People are moving without the ball. There seems to be some ebb and flow to what they're doing. So that's nice to see too. But again, when you have something like that conditioning piece of it, that has to show up in the third and fourth quarters of games when they're a little bit tired, and you're still running those plays and you're still running the cuts to precision the way that you need to execute.
Yep. And I think one more takeaway. Shout out to Ross Correa, one of our chat members on Woodward Pistons as well. He said, I still think this team is going to need rim protection and size. And I'm looking forward to seeing if somebody on the squad is going to be able to step up, because I do believe that's something that has to be addressed. But we ready to get into Swish or Brick?
Swisher break.
Let's go. Swisher break.
Swisher break. All right, let me get some.
And let me set the stage. ESPN released their top 100 NBA players list. And Cade Cunningham, who has found himself kind of scattered throughout these lists, but usually in the top 50. I'm going to save some of the stats. I'm going to save some.
Yeah.
I know you got some stuff as well. But he landed at number 67. I think I sent it to you, JB. If you have it, just kind of throw it up there so people can see it. I see Flannel shaking his head. I know KG's ready to get going as well. But we just set the stage real quick. They've released 51 through 100 so far. You're seeing some of the players here that are above Cade Cunningham, like Draymond, Malik Monk,
Draymond is crazy.
Chris Middleton, KCP.
Big Draymond.
So I just wanted to set the stage. Well, I see you, Flannel. KG, let us begin. Look at Rod.
Yeah, it's a little nuts.
Let us begin.
But it's funny because I titled this Reasons Why ESPN's Top 100 list ain't got no love for the Pistons. And coming in at number 1, Cade Cunningham. Coming in at number 1, Cade Cunningham is a top 50 NBA player. Swish or Brick?
Bro, top 30 in the NBA in scoring, top 11 in the NBA in assists. What are we doing here? Flannel, I'm going to go to you first. Well, you know what, Rod, we'll go to you first and then we'll go around. Swish or Brick?
Is a top 50?
Is a top 50, rather than what ESPN is saying 67th in the league.
That is a Steph Curry swish.
Right. From 35 feet.
Steph Curry switch. That's it. Keep going. Move on.
Yes, this is Steph Curry. This is Steph Curry in the Olympics. That type of Steph Curry swish. When I looked at 50 through 67, the only person who I think you could argue for is Alperen Şengün. Other than that, it's just filled with a lot of role players, like the KCPs and the Alex Carusos and the Josh Harts. Good players, but they're not Cade Cunningham. Yes, it's an absolute swish. And to further your numbers, I love these stats. It's the type of stuff where I just really enjoy bringing these to the people. For those who don't know, last season, Cade Cunningham, despite what was around him, averaged more points per game than Paul George, more assists per game than Chris Paul, had a higher field goal percentage than Mikal Bridges, a higher three-point percentage than Damian Lillard, a higher free throw percentage than Kevin Durant, who I still don't think I've ever seen with my own eyes miss a free throw, and had fewer turnovers per game than Luka Doncic, and LeBron James, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, for people who say that his turnover, his propensity for turning the ball over is a hindrance. If you got a lot of usage, you will always turn the ball over at a high clip, even if you're LeBron or Luka. So, yes, swish.
That's right. JB Smooth.
Did that say, hold on a second. Did that say Derek?
Wait, what was he saying? Hey, put the list back up, though. He was saying Derek.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get the list.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get Rob back on here.
We'll see if we can get Rob back
because this
on.
is a good swish or break.
Derek Lively.
What?
Wow.
He was a part of when we were talking about some potential scenarios. We'll get there with Stu, but
Wait, we got Rob back.
Kobe Bryant?
You said
Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
Not
that's
Kobe
wild.
Bryant. Kobe White.
Kobe White, yes.
Kobe White.
He said Derek Lively?
Yeah.
Kobe White. Come on, man.
Kobe White.
Alex Caruso?
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm done.
Derek Lively. And Derek Lively, he's a good... these are good players. Malik Monk. They serve roles on contending teams. I get that, but Cade Cunningham put up all-star numbers.
I see you in the chat, DNC.
I don't care if they're serving roles in the cafeteria. That's it, Derek Lively.
Yeah, you got love in the chat for that one, DNCNT, all caps. Derek Lively, 56? Hey, I don't get it, bro. And that's why we all know the only thing that's going to change things is them proving it out there on the court. And based on proving that on the court this year, I think that has something to do with our next question.
Yeah, and that's some BS. KCP over K. Come on,
yeah. That's right. You're a swisher, bro.
Yeah. Swish with the three going down the court. Come on, now what we doing?
But
what we doing?
Turning around. I'm turning around 3 times,
right,
and running down the court before it even goes in.
That's nuts, man.
Goodness.
All right, coming in at number 2, Jaden Ivey and or Jalen Duren will be a top 100 player by season's end. Swisher break.
Some of those names that are especially on the bottom end of that list. Can you bring up that bottom end of the list?
Yeah.
Because it's going to have implications for, I think, our third or fourth question as well. Looking at some of those names, I do believe that one of those players could get there. Based on what we see out of preseason, I do believe that Jaden Ivey has the best opportunity. And you know what? Man, it's tough to say, but I'm going to go swish. Jaden Ivey will get there.
I am going to go swish as well for one of them. And look, you're pulled up the 100 through 86. I mean, with all due respect, would it shock you if Duren or Ivey is at the end of the season is objectively better than Jaime Jaquez or
I feel like both of them can
or
get there.
Jabari Smith, who's talented but's been a little bit of a disappointment, and same thing with Jalen Suggs. I think one of them will be objectively a top 100 player.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I kind of agree as well too. I mean, looking at this list right now, I don't see anywhere in the history that either one of these players couldn't be at least make the back end of this list. Like, I don't see a lot on this list that is just like impressed me at all. Like, definitely Duren and Ivey can honestly make this list easily. So this
I'm
is
seeing some boths in the chat.
I don't know about that, but
I'm going with both on this. This is swish.
Okay. You're right, JB.
What up, though, Rod?
Today,
on
the Lord's Day of October 6th, you have Jonas Valanciunas or Jalen Duren.
Jalen Duren.
What are we doing?
Duren, easily.
Yeah, that's
Objectively, what are we? And the corpse of Mike Conley is going to be better. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Both get.
Go ahead, talk, Skip.
Y'all giving Rod a headache right now. Look at this.
It could very easily be both. Like, the corpse of Mike Conley is on this list.
It could be both. Goodness, great.
I mean,
KG, talk to me, bro.
Y'all got Brook Lopez, Jalen Suggs. I mean, I just
Brook
like
Lopez.
what we talking about?
Chill on Brook Lopez.
No, it's no disrespect to him. But if he's on the list at this stage of his career, then why can't Jalen Duren be on this list? Why can't?
I mean, about by season's end.
Yes,
I could see both of them on there.
Absolutely,
I mean, if you're talking 3 top 100 players, then I'm hoping that reflects in your win column as well, especially when you got a vet like Tobias Harris. But goodness gracious, the results are going to play the biggest part in it.
Yeah, big facts. And I believe Ivey can get there as well, especially if he improves his scoring and efficiency. Why can't he be on that list? But are we ready for the third one?
That's right.
All right.
And we'll keep that up.
All right, coming in at number 3. Now pay attention to this section right here, right? Tobias Harris should be in the 80 to 90 range of the ESPN NBA Top 100. Swisher break.
Tobias Harris, you talking about a professional shooter, bro. And I'm looking at some of the players here. Exactly.
Jabari Smith.
I don't even
Jabari Smith.
I don't even have to campaign.
He's 92. Michael
At least.
MPJ could definitely be higher on this list. He has a legitimate beat. Keegan Murray has a legitimate beat. They should be somewhere in the 70s, 80s. I don't know who 81 through 85 is, but it's not Tobias Harris, and maybe it should.
Man, and you know what? That's why for me,
We do have
pull
the
up. Yeah, I was
81,
gonna say pull up
85,
the pull up the Lou Dortz.
CJ McCollum is
CJ
number 80.
McCollum?
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
CJ
done.
McCollum or Tobias Harris?
And Jaime Jaquez.
Right.
You mean to tell me Tobias Harris can't beat out Jaime Jaquez?
Tobias got snubbed, bro. He got flannel.
Does that say Brandon Kaczynski? Does that say Brandon?
Yes.
Oh no!
It does.
Oh my god!
Talk to me, flannel.
I didn't even see Brandon Kaczynski.
Who made
All
this
of us
list?
overlooked it. Oh my god!
unable to pan. I am
Rod's
unable
a true
Yeah, this
editor,
list
bro.
is trash.
Who made this?
All right.
It's ESPN.
Gutter trash.
Pistons of,
Oh my God.
Man,
Street trash.
I think we got a much better team than we think, bro. I'm sitting here looking at this right now like, wow. Talk to me, bro.
Let me add, just because the Brandon Podzinski thing, it shocked me a little bit. I'm not saying that he's not valuable on the Warriors. I'm not saying that he wasn't one of the more impressive rookies in the NBA last year, especially given where he was drafted. But he's not better than Tobias Harris right now. No chance. No chance whatsoever. Tobias Harris is basically a walking 18 a game with efficient shooting. At worst, that's what he is. And that doesn't even include everything else he does.
Dude, I don't even want to answer.
Alphabetical order. That's the only other explanation. Like Zach LaVine is number 74. This doesn't make sense in any list. This isn't. I don't know.
And honestly, I've got a problem. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't good defensive players, but with Mitchell Robinson and Marcus Smart over Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
Like Mitchell Robinson and Marcus Smart are in the 80s, and it looks like Tobias Harris isn't even on the list. That's not okay.
Shad is like, I'm convinced Tobias Harris was on the list until he signed with the Pistons.
Oh,
pretty much.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
cold.
Why they ain't got no love for the Pistons?
That's cold.
Exactly why I titled it the way I did, man.
Talk to me, JB.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about this. Like, this list is just discredited completely. Like, come on. Tobias Harris should at least be somewhere in this range right now. This list is ridiculous. I can't even with this anymore, man.
Talk to me, KG.
Yeah, we already know my answer, man. We can just keep going.
Yeah, hey, you know what? What up, Rod?
If Cade is 67, you got Brandon Miller at 68 and Jalen Green at 69. That's what we're doing.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. KG, go ahead.
Right.
It is some. This list is very weird. I mean, because with what Brandon Miller has been doing for the Hornets, I don't even want to give it credit, especially if it's a player that we could have had. But it's just like he's hooping, man. There's a lot of underrated players, and there's some players that just should not be on this list.
All I know is Austin Reeves is better than Zach LaVine, so. Clearly,
I have no problem with Austin Reeves being on the list.
No, not at all.
For the record,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't being on the list.
72 though, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
maybe in the 80s or 90s.
It's crazy, man. You know my answer. Put Tobias in the list.
The real
Why isn't he there?
K77. This list just seems so random. It does. Man.
It
Like
is.
somebody just
grab a name,
just put it into a lottery and just. That looks about right.
It's an AI generated list.
It probably is AI generated.
That was my next point. AI generated.
Oh man, and you know what? For me personally, though, ultimately with the culture, with the coaching, we talk about JB Bickerstaff and his staff wanting to be here. The singular voice of power and reason from Trajan Langdon, and everything working more synonymous. You look at the players, man. They took a step in the right direction. I know yesterday the media was waiting for the players to be ready, and they were like, "Hey, bro, they're still in the weight room." Mm-hmm. Amari St. Cole for the free press was like, I gotta bounce. It just got too long. These guys are working. They want to get better. And one other thing, as we continue to assess this team through training camp and preseason, when you hear stuff about the conditioning, you're gonna see their play probably widely swing, especially at the start of the season, because they're going all out in ways that during the regular season, that type of conditioning starts to turn down. So I'm glad to know that this season, these players are noticing a remarkable difference over what JB Bickerstaff is putting them through to get prepared for this season versus what they have had in the past. And you got a Malik Beasley who's come from multiple winning organizations to be able to state, you know what, Pistons are doing it right this time. Makes me a little bit more optimistic. If we get those 2 or 3 top 100 players, I'm a little bit more bullish. I'm taking it over when you're talking about the 28.5 wins for the Detroit Pistons. Really quick. Taking that over? I think everybody in this room is taking over, huh?
I am.
Yeah.
I know I was burned last year, but I'm letting myself potentially get hurt again because I've seen enough, even just with JB Bickerstaff being there versus Monty Williams and the talent in terms of veterans as well.
Hey, Rod Beard, you taking that over, right?
If we're using actual U.S. tender, I would take the under. If we're just out here talking to be talking, I will take the over. I think it is somewhere in the 27-28 range. I'm sticking with the number I had.
Hey, let's rock. Let's rock. Any last words?
No, man, this is just a really good time. We're starting to get basketball, college basketball starting up.
Oh, yeah.
Pistons are starting up. Thankfully, one of these sports ended because as a sports editor, you just got all of the stuff you got to pay attention to. Tigers had a really good season. this fan base is energized, and this city is energized on just what the sports teams are doing right now. We were just talking about a year or two ago. It's been a decade since anybody's been in the playoffs, and now look at where we are. So things can change, and the fan base deserves this.
Hey, they definitely do. They definitely. What up, though, JB Smooth?
I just got one quick question for Rod. Shout out to Denver Blair in the chat for throwing this out there. Since seeing that list right now, we only got 50 through 100. Where do you think Bronny James is going to fit on that list?
Whose list is this? ESPN?
Yeah.
Yep.
17.
17.
I believe it.
Jeez.
Let's go. Hey, you know what? Bronny James. Goodness gracious, what a story, bro. Yeah. What a story. But Rod Beard, as always, thank you for the time. A couple segments, a little overtime today. Talk about these Pistons. And like you said, man, we finally got basketball to talk about, and I'm excited about it. Tonight, Pistons play the Cavaliers at 7 at Little Caesars Arena. If you're going to be down there, hey, say what up, though. Maybe we'll get some content or something. But thank you, Rod Beard, sports editor-in-chief at the Detroit News. Thank you, as always, brother. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Rod.
All right, guys. Have a good show. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Rod.
Hey, and I got to tell you guys about something else that's pretty good and here to protect you. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance to make sure that your current carrier is not slipping in anything extra. They got
baby oil.
They got you covered, man. They got you covered. All you got to do, call our guy Mark at Swiss Insurance. That number is 313-530-1698. Or visit them online, SwissINS.com, and let them know that Woodward Sports sent you.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Main, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Hey, I got to tell you guys about Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan the QR code on screen, use code Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, and all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet. And if it doesn't hit, they'll put it right back in your account. You have nothing to lose. Scan the QR code on screen, use code Woodward1000. Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Make some money this week.
Hey, what up, though, people? And we are back. We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. Shout out to that dude, Justin, intern Chase, our guy, Matthew Broder. Love you, man. Keep crushing that Lions content with the legend T. Falls on Woodward and Main Street. Got KG in the sound booth. How's it going, Black Hollywood?
Oh, your
My bad. Yeah, man. Clearly, you see what type of day it is. But nah, I'm chilling, man. Good sports talk, man. Glad we can dive into the Pistons like that. And I just look forward to what they bring, man. I'm telling y'all, 35 wins. I'm confident in it.
It feels like they're supposed to win more. Like it was interesting to see the unders, and I can't be mad at that because they have to prove something. Last year, I had some optimism, and I do believe that if Monty had more of a pulse. Maybe they come through on some optimism. But JB Smooth in the sound booth, WUW Sports MVP. I mean, in the TD booth. How you feeling, brother?
Oh, I'm good. I'm feeling good. I mean, the breaking news yesterday with Alim, that was shocking as well, too. I was out watching a football game with my best friend. Her son was playing, so I got the news a little bit late. But I was, like, shocked to see this happen. But, hey, credit to Brad Holmes for getting these deals done pretty quick. I mean, he's moving forward in the right direction. And let's not question him yet. He has something in the works, so let's just ease off on that.
Hey, and Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad and the network, I got a question for you. It's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid.
Oh, yes.
We got to talk about these deals that went down. Oh, yes. You got Amari Cooper traded to the Bills. You got Davante Adams traded to the Jets, man. You're getting old man Rodgers some help, right? I said them guys, they're already like best brothers, like best friends, best buds already, apparently, right? Just to lose. But you know what? We still need friends when we lose too. But we still got to talk about. What these deals mean, man. What's your first reaction to some of these things? I know we talked about the Adams one a little bit at the end of the show, but we get to talk a little bit more here.
All right. Well, I'll start with Amari Cooper then. I love this move for the Bills, and honestly, this is gonna sound like a hot take coming from me. I might be rooting for the Bills to make it out of the AFC over the Chiefs even. Because as much as I love Patrick Mahomes, I love Josh Allen almost as much, and I think his entire career, which should already be validated to some extent, would be validated completely with a Super Bowl win and a Super Bowl MVP. And one thing that the Bills were missing, and at times it seemed like it hurt them, and at times it seemed like it didn't, was that number one receiver. They lost Stephon Diggs. Hell, they even lost Gabe Davis. They were counting on Khalil Shakir and a guy like Keon Coleman to have a good rookie season, and guys like Dalton Kincaid, and all of them did to some extent. But Amari Cooper can take this offense to an even greater level. And so far, Josh Allen, man, cut down on those turnovers, 10 touchdowns, 0 picks. A lot. And those numbers, I think, will even get better with the addition of Amari Cooper, who's one of the best route runners I think any of us have ever seen.
Man, spitting the heat, man. Do you think that the Davante Adams move, though, do you believe it moves the needle all that much for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, KG?
No. And you already knew that was going to be my answer.
I knew, that's why I had to frame it to you.
And look, this is no disrespect to Davante Adams. I really wish he had went to a better situation, because going from Vegas to this shit over here, I don't really think it's going to work out. You only got that for 11 games. You have to get them acclimated to the playbook, which, won't be the biggest problem in the world, but they don't have a coach. Nathaniel Hackett has been demoted, so... And I just, they have too many issues, man. That offensive line.
Rodgers show over there for real.
Yeah, for real. But that offensive line is atrocious. And A-Rod can't keep taking too many more hits and getting up. He's not as mobile as he used to be. So even if they were to even, survive the regular season and get to the playoffs, they're a one and done. I do not see it in the cards, with Davante being in the mix now. I don't.
I know you see Chase.
Of course I see Chase. Intern Chase. Mahomes is having a down year, so he needs to jump on a new bandwagon. For the record, I want to make this very clear. Everybody with a brain knows that Patrick Mahomes has nothing left to prove, and the only thing he's really chasing right now is a Tom Brady's accolades. That's objectively true. But he does already have 3, and being the Josh Allen fan that I am, I believe he's the clear second best quarterback in the NFL, I would just like to see him get one, and I think the fans of Buffalo deserve one as well. I mean, guys, have you seen the documentary 4 Falls of Buffalo? If you don't get a couple tears watching that, then you have no heart. Come on. So I'm not even, like I said, at this point with Mahomes already having 3, it would be selfish of me to want him to have 4 with Josh Allen having 0. But for the record, if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs come out of the AFC and hopefully lose to the Lions, I would be happy with that as well.
Flannel, can I just add, you do know that Josh Allen does have a beard, correct?
Because the only reason I have...
And a stash.
Because I hate Jake Rogers, which is not true because of his mustache.
And you also hate stashes.
I don't. I just hate people who use that as the sports, the folk heroization of sports. I'm just saying.
Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes in a death match. Who you picking?
Pat Mahomes, obviously.
No mustache.
He's still my favorite. He's still my favorite quarterback. But
Keep making my point.
Josh Allen's my guy, though.
The defense risk.
Oh man, like you said though, you said it right. None of these moves necessarily move the needle for me as it relates to the implications against the Detroit Lions. So for me, it's just handle business, and that's what they're presented with right now. I'm going to continue to say that these Super Bowl teams, they always face some type of adversity. You hear, hey, you know what, they lost this person for some amount of time, but they still find some way to overcome. And when they do, we instantly go, oh, well, they got this coach, though, you know, and he's great at this and great at that, or they got this player who's great at this and great at that. I want to see what this Detroit Lions do. As it relates to Dan Campbell throwing out the gauntlet, no matter what Brad Holmes chooses to do, I want to see this team say, you know what, there's an opportunity to lift up our brother. There's an opportunity to lift up this squad. And you know what, take a step forward. I want to see who's going to do that on this team.
Well, I mean, we'll see, and maybe they'll go after somebody. Hey, maybe it's an Azeez Ojulari. We never know. And for the record, and Alan W., I do have to clear this up because I probably was a little confusing with my words. So, Sam, you're rooting for the Bills this year over the Lions to push your Josh Allen agenda. No,
Oh my God.
No. Maybe I should have made that more clear. And for the record, with the moves that the Bills made, obviously with the moves that the Jets make, I don't think the Jets are making the Super Bowl, but I believe the Bills have a chance. And if the Bills make the Super Bowl and the Lions adequately replace Hutchs, or it looks like the loss isn't as bad as I fear, I will pick the Lions over the Bills. And I will obviously root for the Lions over the Bills. But I would like to see, before the end of his career, Josh Allen with one Super Bowl, because I think he's going to play at least another decade, and nobody thinks the Lions are winning 10 straight Super Bowls. So don't miss me with that, fake Lions fans nonsense. I'm just fake Lions fan accusations and nonsense. I can like other players too. A lot of Lions fans don't. A lot of Lions fans only like their guys. About half of you in the chat seem that way. I'm just not one of them. Sorry.
Detroit Dabber 313. Shout out to Detroit Dabber, one of our chat family members and one of our Boots on the Ground members, man. It was good to see you at the Darren McCarty night last season. He says Sam hates Big Ben's afro too.
I really do.
I
really do.
Whoa.
I really do.
Whoa.
I do.
So you
That's
don't
blasphemy.
fear the fro, you hate the fro?
It's the sport. It's the folk heroization of sports. And for the record,
For the faultness in me, man.
for the
Are
record,
you kidding me?
for the record, I have always said this, that Ben
KG is perplexed.
Wallace, unlike that fraud Dikembe Mutombo, did deserve all of his Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Yeah, the media creation, Dikembe Mutombo.
Did you know that Dikembe Mutombo never led the NBA in defensive win shares? Not once. Not once.
Is the all-time block leader.
KG.
All-time.
Hey, wait a minute. That's not true.
We've had Shaq. We've had, we can go down the list. Go ahead.
Hakeem Olajuwon's one, Dikembe Mutombo's two. Just for the record.
Wow.
Just for the record. But come on, KG.
How do you hate the fro?
Listen, because it's ancillary stuff that I don't care about.
What did the fro do to you?
Like, I don't care about the fro. I don't care about Max Clark's aura, even though I like him as a player. And I don't care about Jake Rogers' mustache. I look at how they produce on the field. You could be a guy with the least swag in the world and be productive, and I will root for you, i.e. someone like Peyton Manning.
That's true. Ben Wallace produced on the floor, though.
He 4 Defensive Player of the Years.
Exactly.
And his afro, who knows? It was 2, 3, 4 inches, bro. I'm sure that it helped somewhat on the defensive end.
But like I said, with Ben Wallace, I do believe he deserved all of his Defensive Player of the Year.
So I get it. So the stash is the reason why Jake Rogers can't get his Gold Glove this year, and the fro is the reason why Ben Wallace can't get into the Hall of Fame.
Apparently,
that's what you're telling me.
Or lack of offensive game for Ben Wallace and not actually being the leader in defensive WAR or defensive run saved at his position for Jake Rogers. I mean, those little things called numbers and all of that, but we don't have to talk about that. It's the fro and the stash. And like I said, Ben Wallace did deserve all of his Defensive Player of the Year awards. This 2004 season, by the metrics, was one of the best individual defensive seasons of the last 25 years. I'll give all the credit in the world. But, KG, when I tell you that Dikembe Mutombo has 4 DPOYs and Tim Duncan has 0, how does that not make you not want to stab? How?
I understand, but to sit here and say he's a media creation where he was one of the better centers in NBA
when I was
history.
Looking at him play,
like,
when I looked at him play, Dikembe was tough, bro. He was tough.
like, what are we
in
talking
that Grant Hill
about?
era, bro. And Dikembe frustrated me.
And you keep talking about old Dikembe, Rockets Dikembe. That don't count, bro. We talking about prime Dikembe Mutombo. Was a top 5 center in that NBA.
I don't think so.
You crazy.
Because it was a dude, you had Ewing, you had Olajuwon, you had Shaq, you had David Robinson. I mean, maybe he was 5.
Exactly.
Maybe he was 5.
Maybe I'm not saying he was the best center ever, but you got to put more respect on his name. A media creation is crazy. Just because he did some commercials.
Just because he did this. Hey,
you don't say that about Shaq. Shaq done did more commercials than anybody.
Shaq was like he was one of the best.
Shaq done did commercials, movies, rap videos. You ain't saying shit about Shaq, though.
Shaq would average 27 and 12 in his sleep, KG. What are we talking about?
I understand, but for a long time, Dikembe Mutombo was the all-time block leader. I'm just saying, man.
Fine. All I'm saying is that when you, for the record, the NBA media is a fickle bitch. If they decide they like you, they will prop you up. If they decide they don't, you will be hated on.
His play propped him up. Don't do that.
But hey, can we all agree that the NBA media has made someone like Dwight Howard a pariah for no reason? And they just
Dwight made himself a pariah.
Dwight Howard is a no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer, and people are acting like he doesn't even belong there.
Yeah, he's kind of on that KPJ train though. You got to worry about some other antics.
It is not even Dwight throughout his career. He went to the Lakers and did what? Let Kobe down. He went to the Rockets and did what? Choke.
He played with a early off of back surgery, KG.
It don't matter, bro.
That was narrative.
Kobe was in practice fucking cussing him out like, bro, what are you doing?
And that's because Kobe didn't even want to ever give the keys, man. People have so much mythology about Kobe. He didn't want to give the keys. Man. Kobe was selfish. People didn't want to play with him.
Dwight was selfish. But
he
okay,
played
go ahead.
Coming early off of back surgery, KG, and he averaged like 18 and 12, and people act like he was a bum. Of course that Lakers team was going to lose without Kobe Bryant. He was the best player once he went down. I get it. But it wasn't all Dwight's fault. He gets blamed for everything. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, whether you like it or not. Hey, KG, when Dwight Howard makes the Hall of Fame, I am going to
you get fine. Fine, you can have it.
Hey, in a 7-game series, what center do you want? Ben Wallace or Dwight Howard?
Dwight Howard.
Oh.
Dwight Howard he won his damn near as many Defensive Player of the Year awards
as looking tough out here, Kool-Aid.
Ben Wallace.
Looking tough out here,
He averaged 20 and 10. He was the best center on earth for 5 years.
I wouldn't say on earth, but I get
at the time, are you kidding me? Who was his competition? Andrew Bynum?
Andrew Bynum 2 years. I mean, his 2 years was good.
Hater shit. Hey, that's hater shit.
He was not changing the complexity of the game.
How was he not? He was
not like that. Controlling the complexity of the game. He was not.
Right. He was a rebound and put back demon. That's all he was.
And blocks.
And blocks. I give him. I don't want to hate on him because I do respect his game. But when you're talking about what Ben Wallace brought to the table, man, that's a whole nother. Oh my God!
Okay,
we got segments.
And Ben Wallace didn't have the offensive numbers, but everything defense is there with him. You can't say shit about him defensively.
Dwight Howard made the finals in 2009, and I get it. He had a lot of shooters around him. I get it.
I was about to say that was a whole team. That was really Rashard Lewis's team.
Rashard Lewis was more important than Dwight Howard now.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. You know what? All of you guys knocking on all your doors when Dwight Howard makes the Hall of Fame. You know what? I will be inducting him. Flannel Sam will be inducting him.
He probably won't you induct him.
Anthony Davis while we're at it. I will do it. And I will look at every single one of you and say, ha! Every single one of you.
Shout out to Ben Wallace, who's already been inducted. Shout out to him.
You know Dwight Howard was at the Diddy parties for sure.
Oh, big facts. First in line. Oh, my God.
What bills we got to pay? We'll take 5 seconds.
I think Mark White is one. Mark White? Yeah,
Mark White. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right.
Mark White. He's not a role player. Apparently, KG thinks Dwight Howard was a role player, but Mark White is certainly not one. Dreaming of a new home, but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000.
That was Hedo Turkaloo's team. Guys, what are we talking about?
It was obviously Jameer Nelson's. KG probably later. Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesales.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
To prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full-line merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed-out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Hey, Soroki's crispy chicken and pizza. Man, did it get heated today? But that's all right. I love my brothers here, and we kumbaya off air.
Yes, we do.
Soroki's crispy chicken. Over some Soroki's. Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza has a new limited time offer just in time for this football season. Soroki's is debuting their fresh signature flavored wings. Grab your friends, order a New York style pizza, and add fresh wings for the games this weekend. Try one of their 7 different flavors or go to Sorokis.com. And then the Boys and Girls Club, the final of the football league, is this Saturday at Ford Field. My goodness, what an opportunity for those kids. And you know what? If you want your kids to have those sort of future opportunities, register for 3C Sports at bgcsm.org to get involved in future leagues, and maybe your son can play in a league at Ford Field. Maybe a future Lion you got there, maybe not.
Hey.
They got locations all over Detroit, Belleville, East Point, Highland Park. So wherever you may reside, there's a Boys and Girls Club close to you.
What up, though? And maybe some future Lions. And the cool thing is current Lions, like Josh Pascal and others, they make their way down to support the Boys and Girls Club and all the teams. It was cool to see him out there, out and about. And I know Ryan Lentz from the Genius Room, he was out there getting footage and such. I look forward to this weekend as well. It was awesome to see just how much those kids appreciated being able to have that opportunity. And usually, the kids are ready to say, yeah, I'm about to ball out. But a lot of them were like really unscripted, without their coaches in their ear telling them what to say. We're telling me about, they're teaching us to be men. They're teaching us about life beyond football. Like, what if we don't make it? Or what if we do make it? How are we going to play football? And how do we understand at the high school level? It's a lot of good that's going on over there, and it was a cool experience. So, definitely. JB Smooth, we want to deliberate, man. Where did this fall? I think it's time to spark up.
Let's do it.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Jay Bizzle.
Let's rock.
Yo, what's up, fellas? You know it's hard to follow that basketball segment that we just had? I mean, I'm going to try my best, but damn, that's kind of hard to follow. But first up, I got to ask you guys, you guys think her phone still works after this happening?
Wait, what's going on here?
What?
She in a porta potty?
Wait, whoa.
Oh.
No. It's gone. Leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it. Oh, my skin. Dog, this few things that make my skin crawl.
Ooh.
This is
Holy shit.
This is one.
I mean, do you think her phone still works?
No.
You got?
Oh, no. I don't care if it works.
Yeah,
it belongs. You know when the girl belonged to the streets. Bro, that phone belonged to the porta potty.
For real.
Leave it be.
Hey, it might still work, but it's shitty.
Very nice play on words.
Oh, man. That's tough.
Flannel looked up and was just like, ew.
Yeah.
This is why you do not text while you're in a porta potty.
I was about to say, I had one instance. I was working an event at Arts Beats and Eats, and I went in there and I started texting while I was taking a piss, and I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't do that.
Hold on. I may be wrong here, but is she not a female?
She is.
Yes.
Shouldn't she be sitting down? How the hell did you do that?
I'm assuming she had her phone in her hand and then just got up and it kind of just dropped.
I guess.
That's
Who's
what I'm
that
assuming.
standing over her just recording the whole thing too? Like, the one thing in common with all these videos, get you some better friends. Are you kidding me,
Big
bro?
facts.
Gosh, somebody's just sitting there like, yo, I'm enjoying this right now.
You can't even clean that. You obviously are like at an event, so like
Bro.
after you wipe the phone off, it's gonna stay.
You can
like,
put it into the middle of the sun and to disinfect it and bring it out. My mind knows where that phone's been.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't
yeah.
clean my mind of this memory.
I'm not
The
using no
phone's
sun
dead.
for that. I'm not using no sunlight for that. I'm sorry. That's all Clorox right there.
That's what I'm saying. Anything you want to do, bro. Like anything. There's
That's
nothing.
disgusting.
It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
Phone's dead.
Get her some sanitizer.
It's
Maybe
Fish
that'll
Girl's
help.
sister. Art
Right.
This is a little nastier
Chuck
than
Brewer
even
said
Fish
send
Girl.
it to Broder.
Aww.
Oh, man.
Brother, do it.
Her or Hachtua girl.
Right. Put some respect
I'm a
on
married
Hachtu
man,
name,
but-
man. That is a classy woman. That woman is classy.
I don't think she's classy, but talking about spitting on a man's member while giving him fellatio is different than reaching
They
into,
asked her. They should ask.
reaching
Yeah.
into a porta potty.
Yeah,
It's
don't
very
ask, don't
different.
tell.
Randall Small said there's not enough Purell.
There's
No, there's not.
enough
Not in
Purell
the world.
Not enough Purell in the world. Moving right along, I gotta play you guys this video. I just know this man can fly.
Oh, shit. You don't believe nothing.
I wasn't ready for that.
Oh.
Boom. Yeah, you don't jump under
In
the
front
rim.
of your kids, too,
Right.
bro. I feel so bad for them.
Life lesson. You do not jump under the rim.
No, you do not.
You know what? You already know how it went down.
Ooh.
Because we've all mentored somebody who got kids or got nieces and nephews. You already know he was like, hey, look, this how I'm going to put it down, too. I'm going to go
Right.
up there and 360 and smack.
That
God.
smack sound that made. Jesus. Broken face. Jesus.
Broken face.
Just know when you're out with your kids, don't try to impress them like this. Don't do that. And finally, I gotta play you guys this clip. I don't know if this was the right move to make at the end of a game, but you know what? You make the call.
I mean, it went in, right? He looked at the coach like, hey, coach, you know, I had to, yeah.
But did you guys peep the scoreboard? There was a minute and 20 seconds still left in this game.
What?
What was he hearing? Like, what in the world?
His clock was different than the game clock. That's kind of like the J.R. Smith moment right there.
Yeah.
His clock was different than the game clock.
Sometimes your controller just gets unplugged, bro.
Yeah, man.
Don't remind me of that moment.
Yeah.
I think I almost wept after that game.
No, that was hilarious, man. That was J.R. Smith at his finest.
That
man.
was LeBron's maybe magnum opus, and they lost.
Yeah.
God.
You knew he was gone after that, man. You knew he was gone.
It's like,
man.
this is just stuck in my head.
You're right.
Like, forever, dog.
Then he was shaking people's hands at you know, during the free throw and shit. You knew he was leaving after that, bro. It was over.
That. They say Anderson overtime, too? Goodness gracious.
It is a minute and 20 still left in the game. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
Chat family, do you guys understand at all what this guy might have been going through, man? Help me out here.
I don't think anyone can.
Or is he
understand.
just him? He's like, hey, coach, this is my layup.
Unreal.
Unreal.
But that's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop into some mailbag now.
Hey, let's get into the mailbag. I know we got a few bills to pay, but chat family, hashtag Feldman mailbag. Let's get those questions into the chat.
Let's do 1800 and Dr. Pierce.
Oh, 1800 tequila. The stuff that I took a shot of on air, and I always have to say it. I know I made a pain face, but that's not reflective of how the tequila actually goes down, because it is really good and it is really smooth. I'm just a little bit of a bitch when it comes to hard liquor straight. I'll admit it. I'm a man who knows his limitations. 1800 tequila, official tequila of Woodward Sports, Lions watch parties, and post-game show. Join 1800 Tequila and Woodward Sports every Lions game live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township and celebrate the wins with smooth 1800 Tequila. Proud sponsor of your Detroit Lions. 1800 Tequila, the best taste of tequila. Drink responsibly.
Hey, attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy, every Thursday on Ermanni and Edwards. And you know what? He makes those emergency appearances like he did Friday to break down, or Monday to break down the Aiden Hutchinson injury as well. He did a good job at that and gave an optimistic outlook. Go to the channel, look it up. You'll definitely enjoy it. Trust the guy at DMAC Trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. Hey, we're going to get right into Feldman right now then, I guess.
Hey, absolutely. But first, I got to tell you about the Salvation Army and Feldman, because if you are ever looking to volunteer but you don't know where to start with the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign. Visit registertoring.com to sign up for shifts. You'll have an option to choose a 2-hour session at a physical Red Kettle site or participate in a virtual bell ringing shift to raise funds from the comfort of your own home. Virtual bell ringers can sign up and begin raising funds at any time. Traditional bell ringing begins on Friday, November 7th and runs through Christmas Eve, excluding Thanksgiving and Sundays. To sign up for volunteer shifts, visit registertoring.com. And hey, after you volunteer, get yourself a new car and drive home with it that day that you go in, because since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest you. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Hey, what up, though, people? And it's time for the Wake Up Woodward Mailbag segment presented by Feldman Automotive Group. Shout out, I'm going to just skip this person to the front of the line. Shout out to one Mr. Matthew Broder.
Shout out.
Hey.
My dog.
Hashtag Feldman Mailbag, all caps. You guys know he's going to do it the right way. What do you think about Carl Granderson from the Saints as edge rushing help? Ooh. Also, and I think this is for you, JB Smooth, what's my girlfriend's name? The one with her hand down the public toilet. Hashtag WUW Crew, hashtag WUW Chat. Love you, brother. What do you guys think about it, man? Carl Granderson, edge rushing help from the Saints?
I mean, Carl Granderson is another one that doesn't come close to replacing Aiden Hutchinson's production. To me, it's almost like, although they're different players, kind of like going after Azeez Ojulari. Although I think Ojulari is a little bit cheaper. So he'd be better than what you have now. And maybe that's what Brad Holmes decides to do. But it wouldn't move the needle that much, but it would be an upgrade.
I was going to ask you, KG, this is just kind of one of those guys, right?
Yeah.
So I already know where it lands on your list.
It's not doing it for me, man.
You want the splash. Are you with Rod? You want the double?
If you're going to make a move, then it might as well be the move. Otherwise, just keep what you got, man.
Get reckless. Reckless Wednesdays.
I wanted to address something in the chat from intern Chase. God damn it.
Of course it's Chase.
I know Chase said yesterday that he's rent-free in my head, and I'm not doing anything to these allegations are looking not so great on me, but I have to say this because I was talking about how I don't like ancillary things like making you a folk hero, but he said, but Flannel, you like Jesse Winker because of his name. Wrong.
And WWE celebrations.
Wrong. What did I first like about Jesse Winker?
So you don't like his name?
I like his on-base percentage more than anything. What does old Flannel Sam...
I tried to lawyer him there?
What does old Flannel Sam like more that a baseball player can do than on-base percentage? And Jesse Winker's is 367 for his career.
And if that's the case, why mention all the other stuff there if you don't like it?
Because I'm trying to appeal to the masses.
Oh,
that's what I'm trying to do.
So you don't like dumb folks' name. He trying to talk to us dumb folk. That's all.
He just doesn't like Jake Rogers' name or stats. No,
I don't like Jake Rogers' batting average that starts with a 1, but I'm a hater.
Not liking Ben Wallace's fro is one of the most absurd things I think I've ever heard from a Detroit sports person anywhere.
I hate it, KG.
You literally said you hate it.
It does nothing for me. I don't think it should add to his lore, but that's just me. I'm on an island all alone.
So question. If you fear the beard, fear the fro. Oh, Feldman Mailbag. So if you hate fear the fro, do you hate fear the beard as well too with James Harden?
I mean, it doesn't do anything for me. He just grew out a beard. I guess it looks okay on him, but it doesn't do anything for me.
Fear the fro bought us a championship. What are we talking about here?
And I appreciate what he did. And he was a piece of a championship team, as we all believe he was.
Alan W. Feldman Mailbag. I missed the Warriors game, but during the Suns and Bucks games, Ivy couldn't miss. Does seeing him shoot better give confidence Vincent will fix other players like Asar and Ron too? Well, one of the media availabilities we had, there was something interesting that J.B. Bickerstaff said specifically about Jaden Ivey, and that's they don't want to overcoach him. That there are certain aspects of his game that they just want him to go figure out because they believe he's one of those guys. There are certain things that they're doing. There's certain help that we see Vincent giving. Vincent is more at work with Asar Thompson and Ron Holland, because I do believe the Pistons have plans eventually to play those guys together. You have to. That's your defensive death lineup. Those guys are putting people in suitcases, straight up. But
one of them got to know how to shoot, though.
Well, yeah,
at
and
least
that's
one.
where I am very confident that Vincent will help at least one. And with the gym rats that these guys are and the level of IQ that both Asar Thompson and Ron Holland have, the way they approach the game, you'll hear everybody who knows them in the NBA say this. Those guys are more mature. Those guys are workers. Those guys just want to get better. So you mix that with the proper development, I do believe that they're going to get better. And Jaden Ivey, he has had some help, but I'm proud of both his improvement for what he's done himself, as well as what he's allowed the coaching to be able to do, which, goodness, is night and day, because last year we didn't even know if the coach, well, we know now, didn't really look like he wanted to be here. And some people think the team quit on him.
Maybe.
Some people think.
But that's all right. That was then, this is now. And yes, Fred Vincent, it wasn't just, it was Lonzo Ball, it was Brandon Ingram, it was Herb Jones. It wasn't just one guy. So the fact that you've seen Jaden Ivey shoot better from the three in the preseason, obviously he's got to do it in the regular season and with jump shots as well, 2-point jump shots. We got to see it in the regular season, but I think this is a good sign, and you can connect the dots between Fred Vincent to improve shooting from Jaden Ivey. He's done it so many times.
Definitely, and the confidence thing, man. Just seeing him happy and confident on the court, it's awesome to see. Shad, and it's for our booth. Feldman Mailbag for KG and JB. Which era was better for Hill teams, the Nexus or Shield era?
Ooh, that's tough, man, because the Nexus, they never really reached their full potential. When they debuted, it was one of the most dope debuts I had ever seen. They literally came and beat up everybody. The referees, the announcers, they tore that shit down. But ultimately, they never really reached that level. I remember CM Punk kind of taking control of the Nexus, and it kind of went downhill from there. They had the whole thing with John Cena. Cena beat the Nexus by himself. It was a bad era of WWE wrestling, man. But the Shield was really, really good, but they didn't really have anybody to oppose them. So that's the only thing with the Shield. There was no other real faction that was competing with them at that time, but they were great, man. And even with the Nexus, you did get eventually Bray Wyatt. You got Wade Barrett out of that. There was some pieces in that that came out good, but ultimately it was the Shield.
I wasn't a huge fan of Nexus as it is, but at the same time, it kind of grew on me a little bit more. And as it grew on me, that's when they decided to just break up and it just be done with.
Yeah.
But I like the Shield a lot more just because they had that swagger coming out there through the crowd, which we haven't seen in a while. So that was cool for me. So give me the Shield era.
Yep, and one more for you guys, because I know you all, the booth, are moving even more so into a role with the extreme fighting here, the wrestling, the boxing and such. Happy that you guys are going to be credentialed for some events next week and in the future as well. And I look forward to all that content. From Dante151, Feldman Mailbag, JB and KG, are you ready for the first AEW Dynamite without Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley as AEW World Heavyweight Champions? And people, before they answer, throw some fire emojis in the chat for the booth, man. I look forward to these guys getting these opportunities and what's to come for their content ahead.
Yeah, thank you, man. And definitely doing that. I haven't watched AEW Wrestle Dream, so I got to catch back up on it, but kind of keeping up with the storylines. I know Daniel Bryan eventually lost, which was a shocker to me. I thought they were going longer with the retirement tour type of deal, but it is what it is right now, man. I like to stay AEW's in. I'm excited for what the new version of the Hurt Business is going to bring, with Swerve possibly, turning on Nana and joining MVP and Shelton Benjamin and eventually Bobby Lashley. So they're in a good place right now. I like the booking that they're doing for the most part. Of course, there's still some little things that TK got to get together, but overall, it's a good product.
Nope, by Bryan Danielson. Don't care.
Why do you hate Bryan Danielson so much?
He gone.
And before we wrap up, I'm going to start doing this too. Is there anything that caught your eye, Flannel, that you need to sound off on in the chat?
Well, we have to get to Dante151 because he sent in a $10 super chat.
Shout out to Dante.
Raiders owner Mark Davis quickly put an end to that speculation and told reporters on Tuesday that Crosby won't be going anywhere. On to Myles Garrett, hopefully gets traded to the Lions. Hey, I said yesterday, and I was piggybacking off of what Matt Broder said and even off of what Mike Valeni from 97.1 said. I think Myles Garrett would be the better option. He's cheaper. Obviously, I'd take either him or Crosby, but Myles Garrett, low-key, is one of the greatest bargains in the NFL. He's arguably the best overall football player on earth, and he's, the 8th highest cap hit this year for defensive ends and 19th next year. If you want to make a big splash, bring Myles Garrett home, especially since the Browns are as big a dumpster fire as anybody, and they're stuck with Deshaun Watson's terrible contract.
Hey, that is word. What up, though, Stick?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello.
Where does Stick come from?
One more time. Greet the people, Stick.
Hey, fun fact.
What up,
2 days ago was Jared Goff's birthday. Just want to let you guys know. That was 2 days ago.
Thank you for that, brother.
Yep, you're welcome. Have a great Wednesday.
Shout out to Stick, man. And
the official Jared Goff spokesman of Woodward Sports.
Is that a show, gentlemen?
Ooh, can I flex on one thing really quick again?
Here we go.
Hey, Stick, by the way, Flannel hates mustaches, afros, including Ben Wallace's, and fingers for some reason.
Yeah,
Why do you hate black people?
Stick just went ahead and said it. I was trying to dance around this. Stick just came out with
You're
it.
like the 10th person to say that. Hey, but I was caping up hard for Dwight Howard, so
for some reason,
Dwight Howard of all people.
But anywho,
You didn't answer the question.
I love all people equally. But one thing I gotta
Not
flex on.
Deion Sanders.
I like him as a player. Still sus on him as a coach, but that's neither here nor there. One thing I gotta flex on a little bit. Did you see who caught 7 for $130 in his last game?
Who?
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
People acting like he's a bum.
You're right.
He's not a bum. He's a product of the system.
That's fine. But he can produce with Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, like he did in 2022.
Yep.
People acting like he's just
Andy Reid
TikTok
is his
boy,
coach.
like acting like he's just TikTok boy or whatnot. The man can play. Just saying.
The love this guy has for Juju Smith-Schuster.
So random.
Shit his whole life.
But he shits on Jake Rogers though. Like it makes no sense.
KG,
But he shits on like J-Mo.
Juju Smith-Schuster has objectively done more than J-Mo and Jake Rogers in his career. That's not debatable. You cannot debate that.
Okay, all
Juju
right.
Smith-Schuster has had
you
a
can't ride someone's coattails and take credit for it. They would win with or without, and he's shown without him, they do just fine.
In 2022.
They do just fine. If it hadn't been proven that without him, they're just as good, then we'd have an argument here. But it's not addition by subtraction. He didn't make the team worse when he left, and the team he went to, he didn't make better. Let's come on, man. Come on, man.
All I'm saying is that he's capable, and when I even suggested for a split second that the Lions should kick the tires, it was just, he's a bum, he's not a culture fit. He only fit in the culture of that bum-ass Chiefs organization, right?
Right.
And that's a good culture. If you can fit in with the Chiefs, you can fit in anywhere. It's the Chiefs.
People say the same thing about the Patriots.
Kareem Hunt's not the greatest human being, and he's fitting in.
That's fine.
Didn't he like kick a chick in the head, and then they tried to hide it? Yeah, real great culture they got there in Kansas City, Sam.
But they
Come
win.
on,
They
if
win.
that was a Lions player,
That's what
that
he
would
was
not
with
be
the
good
Browns,
culture,
too.
and you know it.
Hey, but the Lions haven't actually.
Didn't they
won a
have
Super
another
Bowl
guy
yet.
off himself in the parking lot?
That was before. It was Jovan.
Oh, it was a different. Okay,
That was
still
like
the Chiefs.
2014. That
Still
was
the Chiefs.
2014.
That's culture.
That was like they were like 1-10 at the time. They were not a good team.
Oh, all right.
That was before they got
that
good.
was before Patrick Mahomes. No one's killed themselves since they got Patrick Mahomes.
Culture. Having a superstar quarterback. Anywho, we're like 12 minutes over.
Yeah,
I'm
super
I'm
over.
responsible for that. So.
Look, I mean, the people have been asking for 3-hour shows, but let's get this going. The test pads. Hey, that's buckets, man. That's a show. Shout out to intern Chase, that dude Justin. Matthew Broder was in the chats this morning. Shout out to you. Stick joined the show this morning. It's always flamethrower when he's in the building.
It's always a good time with you guys.
Yes, sir. Okay, let me try and do this some justice today, man. Shout out to this elite, wonderful, stupendous, good, great, better than the rest. I'm talking about this elite booth. Anybody in the city, they're not making noise when it comes to these guys right now.
Okay.
Hey, you know what I'm talking about?
I'm feeling it.
Because we're talking about J-Mo right now, right?
Yeah.
Already more yards than he had all last season
Crazy.
to this point. That's what I'm talking about with this booth right now. These guys are already in prime season mode. Is that enough for you?
Yeah, it is.
All right. In the sound booth, Detroit's #1 draft pick, that is KG. G, a.k.a. Black Hollywood.
And Sam don't like J-Mo dreads. So
They don't help how I feel about him. What he's done on the field this
Sticky
season.
said he hated the Fear the Fro movement.
It
He hates Ben Wallace's fro.
It scares him. Those hairstyles scare me, and it's not about the skin color, it's about the hairstyle, KG.
Because I shiver every time I see KG, obviously.
Clearly, you did the first time, but now that you know him, he's one of those. The ones I know are okay. It's the scary ones.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're a safe one.
Just saying.
You a safe one.
Everybody knows who has been watching me for many years that the whole folk heroization of sports based on ancillary things does nothing to me. You could have no swag and produce, and I will still love you.
Just not direct.
Dwight Howard's career was a letdown, but we can get to that
Dwight
another
Howard's
day.
a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Who had a letdown career?
Do you like Dwight's hair?
I don't care. I don't like
Nice and clean cut.
I will say this,
When
though.
he had braids, he looked like he was going to rob me.
That's how I talk.
I love you, Sam.
Man, these Shaquille O'Neal, you're going to have some allegations coming at you in the chat. I'm not going to repeat it, but you called me something. I could call you something too. Just saying.
Shaquille O'Neal?
I won't
read it.
Shaquille O'Neal. I'll let you guys in the chat read that. I'm not even going to bust you out, man. How very intolerant of you, Mr. Shaquille O'Neal.
Hey, we already dubbed this Reckless Wednesday today. 2 to 4. Shout out to JB Smooth, Uber Sports MVP, in the TD booth. What up, though, brother?
This got off the rails real fast. But I got to give Flannel some credit because I am on wax for saying this on the heavyweights last season. I was caping up for Juju to come to the Lions, to be a Lions player. That's just it. The heavyweight shut that down, but hey, that's just me.
JB a safe one too. I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Y'all know I'm a safe one.
You're the safest.
I was like, we got all quiet. Right. I guess I gotta speak up. Shout out to the Better the Squad, the network. Flannel Sam, I'll keep telling y'all the more things change, the more Flannel stays the same.
Big fact.
Another one I'm seeing on the list that nobody accuses somebody more of like racism than old Mike G. You use that same word as the Shaquille O'Neal. I'm just saying.
Y'all wanna not play with Flannel, he gonna keep the receipts. It's your boy Brandon, the aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential pistol reporter and writer for the network. We had a good show today. Thank you guys for checking in with Wake Up Woodward. Go ahead and smash that like button if you have not. Shout out to Detroit News Rod Beard, sports editor-in-chief for the Detroit News, joining the show for a couple segments, and we had a lot of fun doing the Pistons segment as well. But it's been a great one. I'm hoping you guys have had an even better start to the morning. Have a blessed day, you guys. It's been Wake Up Woodward.